It gets sinking point. Anyways, continue.
We're
We're here. Toronto Talks. By the way, if you haven't noticed, we didn't realize we were live yet. We got Danny on the place to be.
What's good, guys?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, this conversation was good, bro.
Those are good talks, man.
Yeah.
Well,
That's how you know real hip hop mans are in the room, because you just can't turn off the conversation.
yeah, it still happens whether the camera's
Hours
rolling or
later,
not. And
cameras are off. It's like,
Still
God, but no, Bridget.
why isn't that on the show?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely.
get mad.
Now, my vote definitely is that Big Daddy Kane is a far more influential person in the hip hop lexicon than
What was the question? Better
rapper or
DMX.
At the end of the day, like raw rapper.
Everything. I don't care the category.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
And I like X. I like his songs.
Yo, X is dope.
Yeah.
But I will say this though. There's never been a Big Daddy Kane track that made me want to punch somebody straight up in the face and hide it like that. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's what we're talking about.
That's
Criteria. If you want to punch someone, fine.
Yeah.
He's better. Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You found the one category.
The best fight music rapper.
Maybe the movies he was in.
Yeah, but
I mean,
MOP
Posse's a
gets
good movie,
real
but
hype.
how many movies has Big Daddy
Yeah,
Kane
that's
in?
another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Of course,
you're
X
right.
was bigger, and I said, when it comes to impact, I would say X. When it comes to rap, I say Kid.
You know, to be fair though, you also have to look at the era, right?
Yeah.
Early in this conversation, we're talking about the era that we came up in the early '90s, and MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice in the early '90s. How they weren't representative of real hip hop, but they were representative of the most successful rap artists.
Yeah.
Kane's era, to be fair, is late '80s, early '90s. We're talking about heyday. DMX came after that, and then he's like a 2000s-ish
Right.
era.
Yeah.
So
Late
when you're talking about impact, you got to remember, like, when was it, 92? When EPMD put out Crossover,
Right.
PMD said, "Still I haven't seen one rapper living comfortably." Remember that line?
Yeah.
So in the early 90s, to rate up the impact is different than rating the impact
Right.
decades later when hip-hop is now mainstream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And artists are millionaires now. So it's almost an unfair comparison because it's almost like MJ and LeBron, right?
Yeah.
Everyone always argues MJ and LeBron, and you're still talking about two different eras.
Well, not
of
even just that. If you look at what athletes were being paid, let's say prior to Michael Jordan versus what they get paid after. There's guys who are getting paid more than Michael Jordan is getting paid
So that was
today.
the better
But
players.
no, not necessarily the better players,
better players.
but you know what I'm saying. Like somebody elevated it
Of
to
course,
that
yeah.
level.
And
You
he
know what I'm
was
saying?
the
So
That's why they
in the
always
case
watch
of-
salary, like
Right.
inflation, like what you get paid today is not
Right.
So you're right.
Yeah.
But I mean, even like if you look at someone like Joe Namath, that dude was only making like maybe $1 million a season in the late '70s, and that was good money.
That
but
was
that's
the late
not,
70s.
Yeah, that's not like the almost $100 million that these guys are making early.
So
90s,
unfair
right?
comparison if you're going to compare him to another football player based on salary.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be like doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, he makes more.
Right.
You
So
know?
in hip hop, I would say like anybody who kind of came post Biggie, post Pop, post Puffy, they're going to be the recipients of everything that came prior to that, money wise versus
for sure.
you know what I'm saying, the work that Kane put in, the work these guys did for sure.
Absolutely.
You know, absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely. I rate Kane though because almost like it's sort of a personal attachment. Like my whole foray into this hip hop thing. Dustin and I were talking like before. I think cameras went live about how the Beastie Boys' License to Ill album got me into hip hop.
Yeah.
But Big Daddy Kane made me the rapper that I feel like I fashioned myself to be. The first thing I ever did, and the earliest footage you'll find of me, is being on Electric Circus as a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I did a song called Can't Test Me and won a contest.
Okay.
The whole thing was fashioned after trying to be Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I had the high top cameo. I had a beat that sounded like Set It Off.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that, yeah.
My whole rhyme style was a Kane bite. Like
It's
if I'm
on
gonna be
YouTube.
real. It's on YouTube.
It's out there.
So to me, I have a personal attachment to Big Daddy Kane as my, I would say, number one inspiration. And I would tie that into Maestro Fresh West being an inspiration because when I saw him do Backbone on Electric Circus 2 years before I was on the show, he was like, to me, Canada's Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? He had that. Even Kane could wear a suit and rap. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just the tuxedo thing, but he had bars, bro.
Yeah.
Like for 1989, Let Your Backbone Slide, which shouts to West. Obviously, that song has now been inducted into Canadian Songwriters.
Shout out Uncle Maestro.
Like, it's a Canadian, it's a hip hop anthem.
Yeah.
And I think for me, for my taste in hip hop, Kane has made what I consider anthems and lyricism from the late 80s. So Wrath of Kane, Set It Off, Warm It Up Kane, Raw. These are undeniable lyrical classics.
Yeah.
But yes, they're from an era where I don't know that you can compare them.
Right.
necessarily in terms of impact and all that to decades later.
The impact to the
For
culture,
me, it's the most impactful record.
Yeah. When it comes to the culture, now, because now the whole thing is not about the culture. All these other elements are attached to it now.
Right.
Whether you'll be a fucking listen to pop music, you listen to rap.
Mm-hmm.
You help elevate an artist to a certain level, but you're not into hip hop.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So the impact changes.
Yeah, and it's like I was saying, people's attachments to this shit is different. When I started rapping, like the reason the song was called Can't Test Me is that as a 13-year-old, that was my most important message.
Right.
I'm the best rapper.
Right.
There was nothing else for me to say or prove or care about. And my foray into hip-hop came by way of listening to the rappers that I thought were the best and me wanting to emulate them. Today, a young person starts rapping, his or her objective is usually not to be the best
No, they
rapper.
want the money.
Yeah.
It's to be
Make
whatever's
it
hot.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's a money thing or a get the most Instagram followers thing or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a new way of getting love these days that didn't exist when we were coming up.
This is popularity contest.
But do you think with like take for example like J. Cole, like he's taking the slow route to the crown, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like if you would have asked me 7 years ago, I remember someone saying like J. Cole was the shit, he was better than Jay. I was like, get the hell out of here. But if you ask me that today, I'm like, you know what? He's approaching the best songwriter in hip hop level right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with someone like J. Cole taking that slow approach, do you think, you know what I mean, like kids are gonna see that and be like, you know what? It ain't necessarily about doing the Drake thing per se, getting that money, whatever. I want to be more of the songwriter. I want to be this dude who, you know what I'm saying? Like,
too, though. It depends, because do you want longevity or do you want instant gratification? You know what I mean? A lot of these dudes want instant gratification.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of these young guys, like, you know what I mean? You're living like they don't even know if they're going to be living past 25.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
that's
true.
a
That's
good
true.
point. That's a sad point.
You know
that
what
is
I mean?
absolutely true.
So it's like, let's get it. Let's get the lick. Let's get it popping. You know what I mean? Like,
You raised something that's actually a really good point, man. Their own view of themselves, their own view of their lives. I was talking about the way I feel like high school kids don't give a fuck these days about their own shit. Forget hip hop, just like in general.
Yeah.
And you know, that's something I didn't like fully consider, is like their view of themselves. And man, that's an important point to make. And I think your view of yourself will determine what you decide to do, and if you want instant gratification or if you're in this for the long haul. And that just doesn't pertain to being an artist. That's like anything in life. And that's why you really like you flicked off a light bulb, because what I was gonna say probably comes from the mind of longevity, comes from my own sense of what I have not just accomplished in this game, but wish to continue to accomplish.
Right, exactly.
And that is, my answer was going to be, I hope so. I don't know that I have an answer yet. But the reason I say that I hope so is that I found in the past, even this past year, maybe past few years, but boom bap has had fairly strong resurgence.
Absolutely.
Like with a new Gangstar album out, with a J. Cole feature, by the way. You know, with
can I just say that track with MOP is the shit?
Lights out.
I love it. Who does the
see y'all act like y'all know I know y'all.
That track is my track right now. I'm sorry.
I'm embarrassed to ask this. I'm trying to remember if it's Billy Dance or Fame. Who does the Wise Man verse?
That's Fame.
A wise man once said,
Fuck what a wise man
once said.
That verse. They smash it. So the point is, with rappers like, with there being a Gangstar album, rest in peace, Guru.
Right.
You know, new Little Brother. New
Royce
Common
the 5'9".
album, Royce.
Yeah.
Like there are like legit MCs putting out dope records.
Like Westside Gunn is doing some good shit right now.
We could actually keep going. Right? There's like a list of this.
Freddie Gibbs.
I would, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And I would say on the Canadian side of things too, man. Like I would like to say that, you know, I feel like I'm part of a movement of real MCs who continue to make records. And so I think that there is a little bit of a spillover. There's a bleed now between the new generation that we've been talking about and these artists. J. Cole somewhere in the middle. Like he's young enough to understand this generation, but old enough to get to do a Gangstar feature. And I like that bleed over because there's more of a understanding of there being an acceptance of different genres of hip hop. Like I was saying this the other day, hip hop is now old enough. And enough has happened that like rock, like under the umbrella of rock, you could go alternative or thrash or heavy metal or grunge or soft rock or classic rock. Well, hip hop can now do that. right? So call it what you want. So if you're gonna call like trap or drill or funk or soul for that matter, G-funk, West Coast, boom bap, whatever you're gonna title these things, I think in fairness we should continue to do that to stipulate that, look, you might be under the umbrella of hip hop, but this genre is more you and not me. And yes, there's some spillover, yes, there's some crossover, and that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
But I've always hated the idea that something is or isn't hip hop by way of someone's opinion of what's hot and what's not. Like, like calling. I remember when they started calling, artists like The Roots and stuff like that alternative hip hop, and I'm like, it's actually hip hop.
Yeah, this is actually hip hop.
Well, we had a conversation out here months ago. Someone was like, they were like, oh, define the sound of hip hop, and I think the three of us were in unison. We were saying that there is no real necessarily sound. And they tried to pretty much just say it was all rap. You know what I mean? We're like, well, no, you could have hip hop without words.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely,
what I mean?
You can have hip hop.
And they didn't really like. If anything, we caught shit for that video on YouTube and on Facebook because people didn't understand what we were saying.
I love that people did.
When
that.
say like
hip hop doesn't exist.
It's not a genre.
Hip hop is not a genre.
Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is like
it's more from the cultural aspect you're speaking from.
Right. So I mean, within it, and that's the thing too. That's another thing too. Like, it's culturally. What happens today might not have happened 10 years ago, might not happen 10 years from now. So that plays into it too, you know what I mean? And you can see that right across the board. Chicago's a little bit different culture than Toronto versus New York versus LA. So that still plays into it a little bit.
I think that's the beauty of hip-hop and hip-hop culture is that we have our own culture here in Toronto that they would have in Atlanta, LA, New York.
Just the words.
So therefore, our hip-hop culture will also have, like on my album, I use the word mandem, and you're not going to hear that necessarily on a non-Toronto artist.
Right.
So I love that we can bring our own culture to this, and that ours is very rich. The fact that we have, like we mentioned earlier, like a 30-year-old song in the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame that's a hip-hop record. Like, we now are in a point, even though I think we've been there, where we have, I believe, firmly established Toronto as a city and Canada as a country that is very much part of hip-hop's culture, or should I say hip-hop culture is very much part of Canadian, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's one and the same that we should be recognized as a city and a nation that's every bit as part of the movement as anywhere else on this planet. And what I wanted to address also is that, because I think what a lot of people forget worldwide is obviously how close we are in proximity to the United States.
90 minutes away.
We grew up with it too.
Yes.
And hip-hop, if like you're talking about the definition of hip-hop, if you really want to go back and you really want to get old school, hip-hop is party music. Okay, hip-hop is funk and disco. And then when funk and disco was making people dance in the clubs, and eventually we started rapping over it, like Rapper's Delight over Good Times by Chic, now disco is turned into hip-hop. To the hip.
Disco never died.
So,
disco never died.
To this day, bro, I love funky music. And there's a lot of funky shit still that plays out in the G-Funk records. Like, I'm a West Coast fan. A lot of funky shit. So that's every bit as much as hip-hop as the stuff. So when people are dancing, of course that's hip-hop. Because B-boy and B-girl culture is part of it. So
dance started first.
It's interesting when people try to define hip-hop without acknowledging all the things that are hip-hop. And I've always been hip-hop.
A lot of things that what people that claim they're hip-hop purists hate in hip-hop is actually the roots of it.
Well, no, that's why I always argue.
How are you a purist and hate the roots?
Well, that's why I know the roots of it. But that's why I always argue that some of these quote-unquote hip-hop purists...
they're not actually hip-hop
purists.
That's why I use
quotation. That's what I was going to say. Like, some
they
of
don't
these
understand the
history. The biggest hip-hop purists, they like a certain time, a certain era that gives them nostalgia.
Like A$AP Rock makes them a superior, knowledgeable person of... You know what I mean? Oh, but A$AP Rock. It's like the hipster of hip-hop music.
And if you don't go to the beginning, you can't get to where we're at today.
No, but that, and that's the thing. Like the purists, you know what I mean? A lot of times I dismiss them because the purists are the ones who are like, I hate what's new. I hate this new stuff. And it's like you're dismissing an entire genre, and you only want to listen to one era, or like you said, the dancing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like as much as I might not like this particular artist when I'm at home, I don't want to hear this artist when I'm in the club. I want to hear this artist when I'm in the club, and I want to hear this artist when I'm in the club. And I can differentiate,
feed you in different ways.
Absolutely.
For sure. I agree with that. And I think it's funny, too, because so-called purists still don't agree with each other. Okay. I'm in a regular WhatsApp chat with the whole Monolith. Okay? We don't agree.
Shout out Monolith.
Big shout, brothers. We don't agree on shit.
Okay.
When a new record comes out, and some dude will say something, someone will go, yo, that shit's fire, I love it. Someone else will go, it's wax. And it's like, you would think
so many opinions.
Somehow that as purists, right? As hip hop
You guys should do a Monolith podcast.
that shit would be. The whole podcast would be like waiting for dudes to show up at the podcast. I'm getting mad at dudes who ain't here yet.
And I want to give a huge shout out to Shaman Haraj. Me and that dude went to Travis together.
Wow. See, that's
years
cool
ago.
If you're calling him Shaman Haraj.
Hey, shout out my dude Nish Rux, because that was the first dude in the Canadian hip hop industry who ever actually looked in my direction. Like he worked at HMV at Scarborough Town Center.
That's right.
And I'd always go in there and just fuck with, because he worked in the back when they had that whole hip hop section. And I'd go in there and just fuck with him, just hit him up, ask him questions. Dude was like, yo, man, take my number, call me, you cool little kid, you know what I'm saying? And he was one of the first dudes, but yeah, man, Rashad, he put me on to you early. Like, I already obviously knew who you were, but when we were going to Travis, and I was like, yo, is there anyone out there who could help me with some writing or whatever? He's like, yo, my man, Dan, that's the dude you got to hit up. And I didn't get a chance to hit you up at that time, but he was a dude. And then shout out to Blackhead, because me and him worked together.
Oh, for sure.
Yo, we worked together as well. So I worked with a lot of them.
That's incredible how many Monolith guys. Yeah, man.
Scarborough, you know what I'm saying? Like, my dude went, you guys were Vanier, right? Was it Vanier you guys started at?
No, half of the crew went to Lieberman.
Sorry, Lieberman.
Yeah.
That's what it was. My best friend went to Lieberman. I think he was a couple years under you guys. He went to every school in Scarborough.
Who's that?
So, my boy Kareem. Probably
Skeletor?
Nah,
Okay.
he's a soccer player.
Okay.
Not Skeletor, but he was a few years.
Small world, man. Big city, small world.
My sister-in-law went to Lieberman as well, right?
Wow. So, yeah, there's a lot of cats came out of Lieberman, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts to Lindo P, because he's the guy I went on Electric Circus with.
Right.
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah.
But I was like, shit, if I got the wrong video, then he's gonna be like,
shout out to Little P and Turbo just for holding Scarborough down for the last 30 years.
Yeah, man.
You should ask for some message.
No doubt. But you mentioned something in regards to disco. It's crazy because there's this really, really dope David Bowie documentary called The Last 5 Years or something like that. And in that documentary, they talk to Niles Rodgers.
Of course.
And he talks about Rapper's Delight, and he was like, yo, what the hell is this? So he had no idea that this track was coming out, that they were going to sample, basically his bass line. Yeah. And then he talks about how, it's like people say disco died. Like, yeah, these people went out to purposely kill it. But then, through the advent of hip hop and Madonna, he's like, as much as I lost money for 5 years, 5 years later, the term disco might be dead, but it turned into the remix. And he's like, I make more money now, you know what I'm saying, than I ever did back then, right? So,
hip hop, man.
You know what I mean? Hip hop is a big part of that.
I can honestly say that this might swerve the conversation a little bit, but this was a before our time thing. The era of disco versus rock, I believe, was very deeply rooted in racism.
Of course it was. Yeah. It's well known.
So disco sucks. We all know who felt disco.
That was a rock DJ who started that in Cuba, right? So.
And we all but to your point, I don't think disco died. Yo, that shit has helped so many hip hop.
Donna Summer's music still bangs, bro.
And they've been sampled to death.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And like I said, that funky shit that made G-Funk and the Snoops and everybody on the West Coast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that music still lives, bro.
Yeah.
And I want to shout out.
It's just I can see where the ideology came from, though. I want you to continue what I'm saying, because disco also became kind of almost what hip hop is becoming today as well too. It became a thing where you had dope, real disco was kind of like party funk music, right? And, but you also had a lot of stuff that was just very simple drum machine. And it's just very cookie cutter fucking mainstream shit. I can understand where certain people who like a certain aesthetic, it's like the hip hop purists versus the people who today what's house.
You're looking at disco from the 70s,
it's kind of like the same thing,
or the early 80s.
More early 80s.
That's the thing, right? Because when you said drum machine, I'm like, those are all bands.
Right.
The real disco, anyway.
Yeah, the early
days.
Right. It's that's what I'm saying. It's like poppy funk, basically.
Yes.
Like party funk.
There's corny disco I don't like.
Disco became very corny at a point, so I don't know when
everyone's heard disco.
I don't know when the fuck disco thing,
what happened was
referring to. I don't know when that happened. But there's a point where I can understand people would look at disco.
No, it happened in the 70s. So there was a rock DJ who pretty much went out of his way to host a Disco Sucks. It was at a double header at a baseball game. And he told everybody bring their records, and they blow them up in the middle of the field. It actually caused a huge problem in the field or whatever. But one of the big things was disco by far and large was a black-owned, black-controlled music genre. And this is the time when FM radio was just kind of taking off and shit. You know what I'm saying? They didn't like that shit. You know what I mean? And we're talking about an industry that for years they were undercutting all the black performers. And now all of a sudden you have these guys taking over the airwaves again.
Right.
You know, not just like taking over, like they're taking over the airwaves again for like the third or fourth time. These guys like, no, fuck that shit. No, they did before.
And then
you know
comes hip hop.
Right? Exactly. And then here comes, all of a sudden now
and
here
then
comes
rockin' hip hop went like this.
Kind of.
Yeah, but it did.
Yeah.
What went like
Rockin' hip hop slowly came like this.
You know, I think that's the brilliance of hip hop, especially for people outside of the culture who don't get it. Is hip hop? I would argue more than any other, if you like, when we refer to it as a genre of music, more than any other genre of music, has this amazing ability to blend all other genres of music into it
and be its own thing. Like trap isn't like anything else.
Yes,
it's true.
So
you're right. Like
it could range. Like you could listen to a rap song, like "Please Listen to My Demo" by EPMD, and it sounds like you're about to get like serenaded by Barry White.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? And then you can hear another rap song that is the most unorthodox.
Yeah.
Right.
And like someone who wants to hear Barry White serenade them, you'd be like, what the fuck is this?
No, I know exactly what you're saying.
But that's like the hottest trap beat out. You know what I mean?
No, that's a good
Hip hop is the only genre I
had a youth in one of my workshops this past year who was doing, he was part of a musical performance, like this hip hop battle thing. Anyways, we're working on the song together. And he played me a beat. I think he had found it on YouTube. You might know it, I don't. But it was like trap drums.
Okay.
But what was sampled was Careless Whisper by Wham, George Michael. And I'm like, oh shit, this is Careless Whisper. And he had no idea what I was talking about. Like, hold on, before we do anything, let me play you something. And I played him a minute of Careless Whisper. I'm like, yo, this joint's the shit. And you chose a dope beat because for me, all of a sudden the trap drums didn't bother me. I just thought it was sick that it was a Careless Whisper. And to your point, right? That's like this Love Wreckords ballad from the 80s. Yeah. Turned modern day hip hop. Right. And to your point also, you know, artists like Run DMC made rock rap a thing. Yeah. Right. Beastie Boys made rock rap a thing. And in many cases, it was dope. Yeah. It was dope. And you're right. Like I said, I'm arguing this point. I don't know what other genre of music has blended all these different genres with it and created something dope out of it. Classics. Like, if you don't like Walk This Way by Run DMC and Aerosmith, I don't understand you. I feel like I get where you're coming from. That's a classic record. Yeah. And Walk This Way was already classic before they hip-hopified it with Run DMC. Yeah. Right. And of course, there's tons of examples since 1986.
The Run DMC version's better, but
of course it is.
I'm just not a huge fan of that song.
Not a huge fan of that song?
Why
and see, this is part of the whole.
But I understand it. Trust me, I understand it. You know what I mean? And I like Aerosmith, and I love Run DMC.
So what
that song, just even the Aerosmith one, not a great song.
What don't you like about it?
Just not as you know how there's like some songs wow you.
But did you like Run DMC though?
I love Run DMC.
Oh, okay.
You know what song I really like that uses Aerosmith? I was gonna say
like Rockbox.
No, I was gonna say
Trump's fucking Walk This Way.
I like
my Adidas. Trump's Walk This Way. Down with the king. Trump's Walk This Way.
I would say Sing for the Moment, Eminem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like Run DMC up until Crown Royal's whole catalog Trump's Walk This Way. And even Aerosmith, their whole catalog Trump's Walk This Way.
Damn.
Wow.
It's not a great song.
But for the impact of the culture.
But that song had no impact.
And it's a classic moment. It's important. Yeah. I can listen to it. I'm not like it's whack. I'm turning
They bridged the gap with that track.
It is just...
Well, it's obviously one of many examples of the fusion.
The fusion is better than the original, though. I will say that.
Oh, okay. All right.
The fusion's better than the original.
I thought you said it trumps all. No, you said all of Aerosmith's catalog trumps Walks This Way.
Like everything. No, I think like both of their catalogs, the majority of it is better than Walk This Way. So
Have you ever
Aerosmith
heard
to their original, or that, or same with Run DMC to that. Like,
well, I was gonna say this, man.
But I think the fusion is better than the original. Though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I agree. Yeah. Because I'm not that much of a rock guy, but that is a record that introduced me to Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Now, there's other Aerosmith records I like, and I kind of have to credit Run DMC for like opening me up to. I wouldn't have listened to Aerosmith.
Different world.
You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
So, and I think hip hop has had this amazing ability to do that. You brought up an Eminem record.
Sing for the Moment or whatever. I love that track.
And when he did Stan, I didn't know who.
Dio.
Yeah. What's her name again?
Was it Dio or? Yeah, Dio, right?
Yeah.
Dio,
I
Dio.
know who she was.
Yo, her albums is low key fire. Like, you just sleep on
Yeah,
that
man.
album.
And you know what?
She got some tracks with Tyler the Creator that are amazing. Like,
Yeah.
he's remixed some of her shit where it's like, whoa,
Oh man, no, her first that like I don't know if it's her first album, but like the one that like White Flag is on and shit and all that. It's like
Yeah, hip hop's done a great job of bridging the gap.
For sure.
Between a lot of genres, a lot of different artists.
Yeah.
Other people.
And a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
and that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people always say like to be hip hop you don't have to be musical, but to be a great hip hop producer you got to be 10 times more musical than most of these people out here because you got to know this stuff.
All these
you got to know
Yeah,
like okay,
I don't know who
fit,
made
you know
that
what I'm saying?
point, but I would vehemently disagree with you.
Yeah.
I think to be hip hop, you have to be all kinds of musical.
yeah.
And that isn't to say, you know what's funny? A lot of times, you know, I'll meet somebody and they'll ask what I do, and I'll say I'm a musician.
Right.
And they'll go, what instrument do you play?
Right,
So I'm like,
right.
Maybe I should stop saying that because, man, I can't play an instrument. But my musicality is such that when I teach songwriting, a big bulk of what I'm talking about is the syncopation, is the time signature, is 4/4 time signature, and understanding rhythm.
Right.
You cannot rap or call yourself a rapper or songwriter
If you don't have rhythm.
If you don't have rhythm, it is music.
Absolutely.
And I explain to everybody, like, everything you write must be music.
Right.
And it's those people who are offbeat, who can't catch the rhythm. Like, I don't care what you wrote on that paper or your phone, whatever you wrote. That's not, you can't. So, and of course, we talk about hip-hop as a culture. So obviously hip-hop incorporates DJing and b-boy and all this. You gotta have rhythm to dance. You gotta have rhythm to DJ. Like, to this day, I've tried, bro, and I'm still trying to mix the shit proper.
Okay.
And I respect DJs so much. Like, there's a sense of rhythm. There's an understanding of it that even as an MC, I'm still working. I can't do it.
Right.
So to be hip hop,
just gotta feel it and just.
Yeah, I think, I don't know who said that, but I would disagree completely.
No,
you don't have to be musical is wrong.
No, absolutely. One of the best DJ sets I've ever seen. I had the ability to catch Questlove DJing at Tattoo when it still existed on Queen West. And what was really dope is he would play a track that, let's say, had sample Prince and then play that Prince track. Yeah. But this is the only time like I've seen like a hip hop DJ where he was going into like, let's say, Prince and diving into Nirvana and then going back into like Jay-Z. So he was going through the genres and the way he was doing it was like, yo, this is banging. Every track was banging.
That is an entirely different definition of DJ that I think people need to recognize. If you're a DJ, you understand music so well that you understand how to blend them. It's like being a chef, which I'm not. People know, real chefs know how to blend flavors together, what goes with. And you'll see shit on the menus like they're putting mango with avocado and salmon, and you're going, what? And then you taste it like, woo! So a DJ who can put Prince, Nirvana, and whatever hip hop record wow. That's the difference between hiring a real DJ and clicking play on a playlist. Like, there's a big difference. And I want to. There's certain like starting from scratch. That's my dude, and also one of my favorite DJs. I've actually been at parties where I'll hail him and I'll see his laptop. I hope I'm not giving away anything. he edits music to his set. So in other words, if an intro needs to be cut or where in the song he's going to mix it. I could be wrong. I took a quick peek at a party once. And I'm like, so he knows exactly what he's going to mix into what and where he's going to mix it to make it blend properly and to make that audience continue to dance. Understanding the record. You could play a good song, but if that good song has a 40-second intro, you maybe need to get to that chorus or that first verse earlier than when the song allows. And a DJ who understands music, how to blend it and where to play. You remember back in the day, this is going to date all of us, I think, when Black Sheep put out The Choice Is Yours. Interestingly, and I don't know another song other than Scenario, Busta's part of Scenario.
Just a certain part of the record.
I don't remember another song other than those two where DJ specifically played the last verse. Engine number 9. That comes at the end. But DJs played that.
All the way through the Busta,
they always played Busta's part in Scenario. The end of the song. That's very
normally
rare.
You don't. Normally after like that first chorus, you're switching off to the next one.
A DJ who understands his audience, understands music, understands what's going to get and everyone bent down and did the engine number 9 thing. That's how you know you have a good DJ.
No, here's how I know if the DJ is good or not. And let me ask you, because this man's a DJ, this man, you know what I'm saying, been DJing as long as I know him. Right? But for me, you know what I'm saying, like I've been DJing, you know, for a few years, you know what I mean? but here's how I know if a DJ is good. Like, I'll be in a venue checking the DJ out, and it's like, at first I'll be like, yo, that's a dope mix. You know what I'm saying? So 3, 4 mixes, I'm like, that's dope. And then all of a sudden, like 5, 6 mixes into it, like I totally lost count, and I'm just totally into the party. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because you can sit there and study that guy's mix, you're like, oh, that's bomb. Why didn't I ever think of that? You know what I mean? And just kind of like, so now, but do you ever catch yourself doing that? Like when you go to a party that you're not actually DJing, do you actually study the mixes? Do you ever like oh shit?
It depends. I don't complain if someone sucks anymore.
Okay.
Really, eh?
But if someone's good, someone's good, do you notice when they're good?
I used to be afraid, what the fuck is this guy doing? And
we've all done that.
But now it's to a point where it's like, there's no point.
Yeah. How many scraps have you been in because it started because the DJ was whack in your opinion?
No. I had scraps in the booth with DJs fighting over playing time.
Damn.
But
say a word.
Not me. It's not me fighting them though. But anyways. But I don't know. Maybe, okay, back then when I would complain, I would have more of the same method.
I do that shit as an MC. I don't complain or anything, but I study everyone on stage.
Yeah.
From the first concert I ever went to today, I study everyone on stage.
Okay.
And it's almost impossible for me to get out of that mindset to watch somebody and go, I wouldn't do that. I don't like this. Oh, that's dope. You know, like it's hard to escape. Like just enjoy.
Right. No, that's the beauty and the joy of hip hop. Is like the beauty and the.
Like to me, Drake was one of the worst performers I've ever seen.
Yeah,
especially in the beginning. He
I went to OVO Fest the last
Why is he?
I just thought it was trash. Now people who were there absolutely loved it.
The hand thing?
But all he did is literally go up there, do like a song and a half, bring out a guest, song and a half, bring out a guest, song and a half, bring out a guest. And the majority of those songs he didn't even have to say most of the words to because the crowd sang them.
Remember earlier
he was just more just running around on stage or like with his songs playing and saying
and that's what makes him good. Because remember earlier we were talking about effort.
Yeah.
Now if you're Drake and everybody knows every lyric to every song.
Right. You just hold the mic out.
You
just walk along stage.
Yeah, like I love that, but that's where it comes from. And I'll be honest, I haven't personally seen him live to make
great theatrics.
Right.
You know, and he's moving around, but it's like at the end of the day, like I'd rather go pay the money to go see Jay-Z because you know what Jay-Z does when you see him, even in a stadium that fits like however many hundreds of thousands of people or whatever. He just sits in the middle and raps. He hardly even moves. Dude's standing there like Frank Sinatra with a fucking mic with a fucking stand. You know what I mean?
Who's the best performer?
He'll take the mic off and walk around and stuff. But you know what? I want to see that. I want to hear you perform. I want to hear you rap. I want to watch you perform. I don't want to see you your songs playing while you run around on stage.
Who's the best performer?
And saying the odd word.
I'll ask you first. Let me ask you first.
Still going.
Yeah. Who's the best performer you've ever seen, like live, in your opinion? Whether rap, hip hop, rock, any genre, right across the board. You're probably gonna say Michael Jackson. I know you're gonna say Michael Jackson.
I wish I'd seen him.
You never saw Mike? Cause I know you're a Mike stan.
It's a Michael Jackson and his brothers, the Jacksons, came here. I was in grade 2, and I'll never forget it. And here's why I won't forget it. It was the Victory Tour.
Okay.
A lot of people don't realize. A lot of people don't realize that the biggest album of all time, Thriller, never had a tour. It was the Victory Tour, which was the group's album 2 years later.
Okay.
He did all his Thriller material. In fact, the Victory Tour contained no songs from the Victory album. That's some information people didn't ask for, but
that's crazy.
But I was in grade 2, and no, I didn't go. And and I'm not going to get into this because I'm going to answer your question. I was in LA when he died and went to the hospital. But I was there.
Yeah.
Which is a whole crazy story because I sadly never seen Michael perform live. I did see the Jacksons after his passing. I never got to see Michael.
That's crazy.
He would have been my answer, I'm sure.
I figured that would be the answer.
For my money, the people that I will put in that category, I've seen the Roots perform a dozen times.
They're great.
And I would watch them another dozen times easy. KRS-One is one of the best live performers
I want to see KRS.
I've
seen KRS.
I've opened for him, and I've seen him a few times, and
I've heard he's one of the best.
Yeah, he's dope. He's dope.
De La Soul is one of the
De La
best.
Soul.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they kill it with the live band. They start doing covers.
No, they rotate though. Like Macy will be on the they rotate. Like I see them and they literally one dude was DJing and the next guy runs up mid song. They're switching their positions.
And here's the thing, and this is another reason why to this day I will say Big Daddy Kane.
Show me
if you guys haven't seen it, and anybody watching this, I urge you to YouTube his recent concert in Russia.
Where he dropped it, Mike.
It's in July.
That shit was so fun. Where he drops
Yo, the guy. First of all, he's surrounded. It's like this. It's like a.
He's got the coat, like the big square fucking shoulder coat.
No,
thing.
That's not it.
No. Drops the mic. That shit.
I don't think that's it. In July in Russia. So he starts the show, and there's a story behind it. Apparently, they lost his luggage at the airport. He had to buy a T-shirt at the airport. He shows up at this concert. He's just in a T-shirt and jeans, whatever. And he's surrounded. It's a festival. And I think it has something to do with skateboarding or something.
Okay.
Like when they do a wide shot, you see that he's not on stage. He's in the middle of everybody.
Okay. So he's like
and
a kid.
He's performing to people who don't even understand English. Okay.
Got you.
Russians. This is St. Petersburg or wherever it is in Russia. This man is 50 years old. 51, whatever.
He's about that,
something like that. If I'm not mistaken. This is how much of a nerd I am. September 10th, I think it's 68. So he's about 51 at the time.
Okay.
Or 50. So the point is, this guy is not just performing his records.
Yeah.
And this is what a performance is to me. This is why when I say I study the game and I try to implement this in all of my shows. We've heard your records. Big Daddy Kane, we've been listening to your records for 30 years. We know them back to front.
Right.
If you just rap them, you're not providing us with anything different than what we already know 30 years going. That's not the kind of performer he is. He engages his audience. This is another thing that I consider in the category of real hip-hop. Getting the audience to respond to you, getting their hands in the air, making them say shit, the call and response, all of that stuff. And then he has different elements of the show that you can't find on his records. He'll go through different classic records that are like other people's records and just play them, and he'll do a little dance, or he'll bring people on to B-Boy when he finishes his show with Warm It Up Kane. Like, it's engaging.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this guy hasn't lost his step. Apparently, he only retired his dancing a few years ago. Meaning, you remember when he had Scoob and Scrap as backup dancers, and he was part of the dance?
Yeah.
There was times where Scoob Lover would still tour with him, and he would do the dance. When I saw him live at Amnesia, shout out Ian Espinay, another Lieberman guy who puts on Amnesia jams in Toronto. A few years ago at their anniversary, I saw Big Daddy Kane perform live. He did the whole splits, the whole thing.
Yeah, I seen him at Rock the Bells, and he did all.
And he did an event a few years ago and said, "I'm retiring the dancing, but I'm still going to perform," and he still performs. And the point is, with the dancing included, and that's all on YouTube too. You can look it up. The man has, he performs. He engages his audience, and he gives you something to make you go, oh! Like, I can't get that if you're just doing what I've already heard.
Yeah.
Whatever's on your record. So the way I like to do my shows, like I said, I study everyone I watch. Professionals to amateur, everybody. So like, what am I going to do next that's cool? Because when I get on stage, I don't just want to do a record. I usually change what I do that's on my record to make it more of a show.
Yeah.
My choruses will change into getting the audience to say shit with me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell a story. I'll do different things.
Yeah.
I'll harken back to something that I did earlier in the show. Good comedians do that. You know how later in a show, a comedian will say something
back to that
joke. There was a joke he told an hour earlier.
That is
Shout out to
Larry
David.
Genius.
Yeah.
Larry David does that. If you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, he'll always the end of the show
That's
will rap right back to
That's what makes Dave special.
I love that show. I can't watch Seinfeld anymore because of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like, I can't go back and enjoy
Curb is
Seinfeld
one of the
the way I
greatest
did.
fucking things ever
Hands down.
made.
Hands fucking down.
And
Hands
I
down.
think,
Larry.
and to your point, this is why I bring up stand-up, you're bringing up television.
Yeah.
If you can take elements from your favorite shows,
Yes.
stand-up, movies, and go, what did I love from this, and how can I put it into my show? Suspense, right? If there's a twist in a movie, you're like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. That's dope.
Yeah.
How do I do that in a show?
Yeah.
Right.
And there's things that I do in my. I'm not saying it's suspenseful per se. I'm saying there's stuff that I do in my show that make sense. And like 30 minutes later, what I did here makes sense for this, and I made this point earlier. And like, I'm trying to present something from top to bottom.
Well, I like that. You said cohesive.
And I love that about anything that entertains me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I try to put that up. So that's why I will put everyone that I mentioned, including Big Daddy Kane in my top favorite performers. I'm going to put Sade is one of my favorite artists ever, and I've seen her perform.
You're killing it now. These kids don't know who Sade is, bro.
Sade, Google her.
Love her. Love Sade.
Some of these adults.
South Africa's finest, man.
I know her perform twice at Arizona Center.
You ever see B.B. King?
B.B. King.
I've seen him once.
I wanted to say,
he was old that he had to sit on the couch and shit.
Yeah. The Whispers. Let me shout out the Whispers.
Okay.
If you're on YouTube, look up Daniel interviews the Whispers. I got to interview the Whispers.
Well, I gotta shout you out.
I need to check that out.
I gotta give you a big shout out, anyways, because I mean, like, just touching on that and touching on longevity and whatnot. Like, I got the opportunity just to introduce you when you did the 20th anniversary party of Dear Hip Hop. So that would be coming up on what, 22 years now?
It is 23 years.
23.
Yeah.
I'm going by really fast in that last 2 years.
Well, that's the funny thing. But, when we did the party, the 20 years party, at the party I had to say it's actually 21.
Okay. Okay. And that in itself, like, there's not very many other than maybe a maestro. There's not very many dudes in our industry who could actually say, yo, 20 years plus, my shit is still relevant, still banging. People still talk about it. You know what I mean? Not very many people could say that. So
thank you for that. Thank you for doing that for me that day. Man, I swear, bro. Sometimes I laugh when people bring it up. The Can't Test Me thing, fewer people bring that up, and some people remember it.
Okay.
Hip hop almost, if you know me, then you probably know that record. And I laugh because I swear it doesn't feel like 23 years.
Got you.
It's almost funny because it's like, God damn, 23 years.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even have done this if, to be honest with you, if the industry hadn't revolutionized itself so much to the point where everyone's streaming music now, the album might not exist because it was put out on vinyl by a label in France called Surgent Records. Now, Dear Hip Hop, if most people who know the record know that it was on Rap Essentials, Volume 1. It was on a compilation. I never put it out. It was on a comp.
Okay.
And that comp came out, and it did its thing, and became, it was a great record. 12 different artists, 12 different songs. But my record never came out the way I expected it to.
Okay.
I moved on. I did different things. I did Monolith and all that other stuff. And so all these years later, this label puts out the album, and I'm like, fuck, this is crazy. I started realizing the worldwide impact it had. I did not realize. I had people do records in Japan, France, Brazil. I'm like, yo, this dude.
I actually sampled Dear Hip Hop on a song.
Did you?
Yeah.
The record's a hard record.
And I'm thankful because dog, that's a 17-year-old writing a rap.
Well, it definitely
numerous people hit me and be like, "You sampled Dear," like DJ Slam hit me and asked me, and like someone else, and like,
"What did you sample?
Dear Hip Hop."
A lyric or
no? I sampled like just a piece of your piano.
The piano
pitched it down, so it was like, and I know
the
obviously
piano was
that's
Ramsey
a sample.
Lewis, "Look of Love."
Okay.
Shouts to Scam.
Yeah.
And so my point is, with the world of Apple Music and Spotify and all this, I'm like, okay, so there's people can listen to Daniel, but they can't listen to Dear Hip Hop. I'm like, this is weird.
You need to get that.
I have to.
Yeah.
So I did 20 years later.
So you didn't have the rights to the song? Or?
No, I had the rights, but it didn't exist in that format because I had never put it out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Rap Essentials came out. I never put it out. So I was putting out albums and stuff, but Dear Hip Hop existed on vinyl, Rap Essentials, and people's memory.
Like it was already there, right? So you're like, I'm not gonna.
But it wasn't out in the way that people put out music. So it was remastered and redone, and
nice.
Yeah.
And you said you were 17 at the time?
When I wrote it.
Yeah,
which is crazy because I mean that to me seems like a really, really dope age in hip hop because when you think about like Rakim's first album from what I see, he wrote that when he was 17.
Yeah.
You think about Illmatic, he wrote that when he was 17.
Look at Special Ed, bro.
Right?
That was like 50.
Yo, Special Ed does not get the props.
You
wish you could.
How old was Chiali?
You wish you could.
Exactly.
It's like 14?
Ed, that shit is fire.
I got it made. I heard I got it made today.
Yeah,
like,
man.
If you put on I Got It Made, if you put on I Got It Made, I can do the whole record.
Man,
I could friggin' hip hop karaoke the shit out of it.
I like that, man.
Yo, who's down to take a copyright risk right now?
No, don't do that right now. We'll do that after. Do that offline, man.
Happy to say that I did get to meet and perform with SpecialEd before.
Nice, nice.
So that was a while ago, but yeah, it was dope.
That's fire.
Because that was, I agree with you. That was a huge record, and he was.
Nah, don't do that. You're gonna get us violated on YouTube.
Can't
bro.
do it, man.
He's got a lot of dope records, man.
YouTube's quick with it right now. They'll violate you quick right now.
I do want to.
I feel it's time to show my full capability.
I do want to say this since you brought it up.
Yeah.
His flow's sick, man.
Well, let's see what you guys
No,
say.
he's right. Thank you for being part of that night. That night stands in my history as my greatest career moment because I was celebrating a milestone, but my dad had passed like a month previous to that.
Right.
And I was almost like, fuck this whole record.
Yeah.
You know, like I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to do it, man. And I want to say this because this is important to me.
Mm-hmm.
My 20-year celebration doesn't exist without other artists having been part of everything, my movement.
Right.
Yeah.
So the people who came before me, like the Maestros, who had Kish, my brother Big Kish,
shout out Kish,
who I put on the
Around
album.
the World in 80 Days.
Absolutely, among other records.
Yeah.
And then other dudes who were on the Rap Essentials album, Shock Claire, Concrete Mob, Mathematic. They all appear on the album.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this isn't just about me.
Yeah.
Right.
So I had to do something that was like, all y'all who are part of this, I want you to be part of this. And because they were part of it that night, and everyone played my request. Concrete Mob performed Boiling Point.
Yep.
Math did Learn to Earn.
Yep.
Maestro did Backbone.
Yep.
Shock Claire did Northern Touch. As well as 21 Years. I'm like, yo, that was the best night of my career because I had created this. Shouts to Chris Jackson who helped me put it on.
Yeah.
We created this, like, I was a fan of what I saw in addition to what I had brought to the table, and I got to perform with the live band, Dirty B-Side and stuff. So
shout Donnie Milwaukee on that.
Big. That was huge for me. It's still a moment that, like, in my brain was like the best day of my career because, like I said, it went from I can't even do this, I don't want to do this. I'm not in the mind state to do this. Because there's a lot of shit I was going to do from this album that I didn't do. My dad passed a week before it came out, and I'm like, I wasn't even thinking about it no more.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the show, they all came and did their thing.
Yeah.
The place was rammed.
Yep.
And I'm like, thank you. You know, so.
He was looking out for you that night.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. I wore him on my shirt.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And I have to say, and this is why I wanted to reference it because you referenced it and you being a part of it, you know, I appreciate it. And I wanted to, 2 years later, thank everybody who was a part of it because, like that was for reasons that I didn't expect. Was such a huge night for me, man.
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers and looking forward to doing another release party for The Day It All Changed. So my latest. I'm just throwing this up for everybody to see that this just came out. This obviously is a completely different project.
Yeah.
This is my first I'm a Dad Now project.
Yeah.
And obviously being a dad has changed everything, hence the title of the album and the album cover. So I am doing a release party. If you're in Ottawa on November 29th, I want everybody to come out to the Avant-Garde on November 29th in Ottawa. So we're doing a party out there. God willing, I'm still going to set one up here in Toronto. But I just wanted to quickly just throw that out there.
Shout out Ottawa. You got any Ottawa artists on that? Dynamic on that?
Dynamic will be part of it.
I know Dynamic will be on that.
Who else from Ottawa? Sam Haas and Spit and Image from Ottawa. And Lee Ricks from Toronto will be part of it.
Shout out Lee Ricks.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lee Ricks.
So that's going to be a cool event. Like I said, we're planning to hopefully get one going in Toronto.
Yeah.
Just trying to get the venue locked, but that's
Toronto's weird. It's like we had so many venues, and all of a sudden, within the last 2 years, it's like we don't have any venues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we have venues.
Lyrics and he'll be up here.
Do we have lyrics up here?
Yeah,
not yet.
No, we haven't had lyrics up here yet.
But
But I feel like we had I feel like venues 5 years ago, 6 years ago were bending over backwards after they were bending over backwards to keep us out, and then all of a sudden they were starting to bend over backwards to get us in because they weren't making money. And we had all these venues, and then it's like they just shut down. Condos.
Yeah, you're right.
So now it's like
we mentioned Cool House earlier.
Yeah.
The amount of memories I have, and it's condos now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, think about the corner of Queen and Spadina where they used to have Big Bot, Reverb. And there was three things in one, right? Everybody's performed there. You know, that was your first spot to go perform, and now it's just some demo building. And,
wow, that's right. Well, shit, man.
You know, and Velvet used to be a good spot to go, but now it's just like you got to be a little bit bigger, higher up on the totem
be like
pole.
in a race or something.
Yeah, so a lot of these rock spots still exist, but the hip hop spots.
You know the funny thing is, man.
Talk about after too.
What's that?
After this show.
What's that?
Okay. Oh, personally. You saying all that shit reminds me about
you know
something.
what I'm talking about.
it reminds me about something that I think is also very hip hop, man, and that's our resilience, bro.
Yeah.
We've had to overcome a lot, man.
Yes.
Throughout
In this city,
whole,
yes.
like throughout my presence in this game, there's been a lot of places open and close. There's been a lot of artists come and go.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of radio stations
Yeah.
that came in the name of hip hop, disappeared, turned into
Come
something else.
back.
College radio
Yeah.
changed, and so much has changed, and still we survive it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's
Yeah.
like, listen, bro. The amount of things that I used to do that I can't do anymore because those venues don't exist. Like, look at Much Music, look at Rap City.
Yeah.
Like with every album I dropped, I was automatically on Rap City.
Right.
I could call Master T direct.
Yeah. Then you get national coverage.
Yeah.
National
That's what I'm trying
coverage.
to say. Like, if you got a video on Much Music back in the day, a rap video,
Man.
you could probably get a tour off that shit. Now, Much Music doesn't even play videos anymore.
Listen, to be perfectly honest, I owe so much of this whole Dear Hip Hop thing to the fact that Much Music rinsed it.
Yeah.
So, honestly, like, if we go back to '96,
even Electric Circus,
Of
Much
course.
Music, right?
For real though,
If it didn't
make
exist-
some noise for Master T. Like Master T is my hero.
yeah, no doubt.
I got his biography somewhere in my house, but
Yo, my dude, hey, Master T came out that night.
Yes,
You know
he
what
did.
I'm saying?
He
And he
did.
said some words on stage.
He did.
And I asked him. He had no idea he was going to do. I was like, I need you to just say whatever you want to say. Because and to your point, he deserves the applause, is like, we as artists, we wouldn't have platforms or like that we did without him, right? Like, you need, I respect you guys. The Turono Talks podcast, like, without it, there's that many less people who know about my album, my part. They don't know shit unless they tuned in, and maybe this is people might have discovered me today. And that's what I'm saying. When we had avenues, like it's podcasts today, it's the internet today, but like when we had Much
national
Music,
avenues,
like he's Mike's right. Like shit, the whole country knew my new record was out.
And they had those on repeat too.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
And when we had Much Vibe as a channel, it was even bigger because you had a channel that was dedicated to urban music. But then that disappeared after 5 years.
It was the best. When that shit came, I don't know if it was out yet or not, but I'm going to throw in one of my quick little brags. Dear Hip Hop was the first hip hop video played in the year 1997 on Much Music. Why do I know that? Because me and the man, Monolith, we had rented this motel and
there you go.
Bought a bunch of gallons.
Oh, that must have been crazy.
Drinks.
That must have been crazy.
At midnight, right? We
got it on Much Music.
So Much Music was doing the Much Music New Year's dance party.
Yeah.
Right? Bam. We counted it down. 10, and, Happy New Year. Da, 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 da. We're drinking. We're clicking.
Oh, shit.
They played a video or two, and then Dear Hip Hop. I was like,
oh, that must
and
have
it was
blew your
dope
mind,
because the
bro.
girl I was with is like,
That's you. That's you.
Anyway, piece of trivia that no one wanted.
Shout it out. That's what's up, man.
But that does. I don't have that now.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you the last time Much Music has played anything by
Right.
by me. So.
No, and I mean, like, just to, like, I remember the first time
I'll
that
never
anything
watch
I
Much
put up.
Music again because
It's just all Fresh Prince and South Park at this point.
No,
Bro,
I don't even care
you know
if they're
what the
playing a
most
show I
hilarious-
want to see. It's like,
You know what the most hilarious
you've betrayed
thing is?
me.
Yeah.
You know the most hilarious thing about Much Music?
Yeah,
is
change the name.
when we were put, I think it's only called Much now for whatever reason. But the point is, when we were putting videos out and everything, there was such a strict responsibility of ours to clean it. You gotta play clean records, right? And all that stuff. Now they have movies, they have South Park, they have and it's pure cussing now, guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, they don't bleep shit on this station anymore.
No, they don't have to.
You know?
They don't have to anymore. Like they
Things have definitely changed.
Yeah, things have definitely changed. But
I will say this, especially because of Master T, Michael Williams, Namageddon Kiwanuka, Pedal Baptiste, Greg Baptiste. I love all y'all because you guys helped us. G Wonder, yes.
Hey.
I had no idea that he was the voiceover on all of those all of those videos. So he told me, and I'm
broke down when he told me.
I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
You are my child.
That's why I gave that's why I threw the government out there, because before all that, I was like, that man was interviewing man from Much Music.
Yeah, he was the guy doing the voiceovers like that you would see at the intro of these big shows. Britney Spears, blah blah blah.
With the camera, bro.
Yeah.
So my point is that was
shout out
huge.
Oliver.
Yeah.
Remember Oliver back in the day?
It was huge for artists like me on the come up. I was a teenager turning 20-something going, wow, I've been watching Much Music since forever. Now I'm on it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I actually feel sorry for the younger generation
who
won't have that feeling.
They won't know that feeling.
Because the internet is everyone's playground.
The end of it is like, Where would you say it ended? Like, who was the last Toronto rapper to really benefit from that?
Drake.
To benefit from much music?
From much music.
Drake.
Yeah, because that was
Drake or Cardi, but probably Drake. Like,
Yeah,
realistically.
did Drake really benefit from it?
But they're probably still playing.
I don't know. Like, I think they play like just music 1 hour a day or something now. I don't
If they do, I'm sure it's Drake.
Yeah.
Like, he's in there.
Yeah.
You know?
Right? Like, Drake, you know?
But I mean, like, to actually,
Weekend.
like...
Drake in the Weekend. Maybe Belly.
Did they break them, though?
No,
Drake, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
That's what I'm
could be
saying.
wrong,
Like,
but
I would say 106 and Park probably broke Drake, to be honest.
Yeah.
With you.
Did they?
That song he had with Trey Songz.
Yeah, if anything.
That probably
that's what I was
broke
going to say.
Drake.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
blow up
like,
that level.
much music
Because, I mean, he was doing
like,
tracks with Jenna G.
made artists,
and
that doesn't
Canadian
matter. I'm talking
artists.
about made artists' careers.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like, exactly what you're saying right now. Like, who was, like, Cardinal Official couldn't be Cardinal Official he is today without much.
I would say
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Shot Claire couldn't be the Shot Claire he is today.
But Cardi Slang was
who's
all
last?
over
Like,
much music
yeah.
at
Like,
one
Ghetto
point in time,
Concept,
right?
they were
Absolutely.
near
Ghetto
the back
Concept,
end.
Infinite.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Like, we would never have heard of these guys.
I wouldn't even say
Where did
because
you-
of
would
much
you
music.
cut it off?
I would say it's because of the people you mentioned. Because minus the people he mentioned, much music would have played
Right.
that shit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Those are the people that push for it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
What I loved about
I'm
it,
saying, where does it cut? Like, who's the last like, I'm trying to just think of the time when much music started becoming, like, Bishop benefited huge from.
I would say, like, to be honest with you, like,
What
just
year
there was
do you cut it
a
off
dark phase probably from like 2002 right up to like 2010 on much music where like there was a lot of rappers getting played, but I don't think they were necessarily benefiting
Well, a lot of them
the
were
way they were
getting
until
played,
like
I'm
Drake
saying,
kind of
much
popped
vibe,
up.
right?
We're talking like the Harvey
So much
Stripes,
vibe.
the Mr. Hooks, those
Yeah,
guys. They
much
weren't the
vibe,
kamikazes. They weren't getting
Brass Funk.
you know
Yeah.
Brass Monk. Brass Monk should be
So they-
huge.
yeah.
Should be fucking. I remember seeing Brass Monk at Edge
Yeah, I
Fest
was thinking
2000ish,
Brass
you know,
Monk
and they
did
were
well.
the same stage that
DL
Nickelback was
Incognito.
on. DL Incognito.
Well,
Oh
the reason why I know
man.
about it was because of
Man,
Trust me,
Nine
that's
Planet
a
Hip
lot of
Hop.
artists. What I really loved about this music,
Classified.
that's how I discovered them too. What I loved
I
about,
remember the "You Dead Now" video.
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah.
Shit. You're dead now. That's
Oh
right.
yeah.
Well, even
He
just
doesn't
like,
even have a copy of that.
well, one of the
shit
biggest
anymore.
rap
I heard
tunes
it. Yeah, you told me
ever.
that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest rap tunes ever on Much Music would have to be Northern Touch, and even though you weren't in it, one of the most
still
epic
cheesy,
lines,
eh?
one of the most epic lines, you know what I'm saying?
I'm
Was it
still
on
like
we
chilling.
chilling Monday night raw watching, me and Daniel with the sky when it's in town.
But
Yeah.
people know I just be regular.
I'm gonna give you a
So when's the
funny.
last time you've been to wrestling?
Oh, a long time. It's been a
Just had to throw
while,
it out
man.
there.
I haven't. Yeah, it's been a minute, man. I'm gonna tell you a funny story
Yeah.
about that though, because so going back to Rap Essentials, when we did the Rap Essentials tour, I was blessed to be put on it with Shot Claire.
Yeah.
So he was basically the headliner, and then
I can see that.
me and Wyo did a joint show.
Yeah.
So YOK had a song on there, Sunlight. I had Dear Hip Hop. Shot Claire had 21 years, and so we went on
21
tour.
years is such a fucking bad.
Crazy Fire. Shocks went on the road. He brought along Road Dollar, his bro Casey Thomas and Supreme, his DJ, who would DJ for me for a little while. And we also rolled with Black Cat. So we called ourselves the Seven Deadly Venoms. We were the 7 guys on the tour. 3 of us were on the Rap Essentials album. During that tour, obviously we became close and all that stuff. And we discovered at the time our mutual love for wrestling. We'd sometimes actually wrestle.
Oh shit. Okay.
We were freaking pile driving in the hotel and shit. It was crazy. So, what was it? About a year after, I remember we were doing an event. I remember it was at York University. We were doing a show. And Shocks took me aside and said, yo, I did this record, and yo, I shout you out in it. I had no idea what he was talking about. Yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then
It turned into
lo and
Northern
behold, it's Northern Touch, which
Yeah.
turns into this big, huge all-time anthem.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, when I heard it, obviously I was like, yo, that's dope. And
Why am I not on this?
Always appreciate that shout. Like, I might not be in it, but my name's in one of the
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
right? So I was like, yo, I'm seeing cameos in the video. There's other people in the video. So I was like, guy, you say my name. Why'd you tell me, come to the video? And he's like, well, it wasn't my video, it was the Rascals video. So I'm like,
yo, Red One, what the fuck?
They shot it here,
Yeah.
So when I eventually caught up, because I did part of the Rap Essentials tour, not a lot of people might know, but a portion of it, Cardi was on, and a portion of it, the Rascals were on.
Okay.
So we became friends too, and so not at the time, but later I would hit up, I think I was asking Red One, I was like, yo man, Shocks told me, he didn't invite me to the video shoot because, it was years, like, you could have come, what do you mean, right? And it was funny because years later, Wylook, shout out Wylook from the circle, he called me because he's like, yo, the Rascals are in town and they're doing a video with Bret the Hitman Hart. Remember that record?
Yes.
Sharpshooter?
Yes.
So I went to that video shoot. I met Bret Hart. It was sick, but I'm not in the
Damn. Oh man.
So yeah, I blame Shocks for that.
Crazy. Shout out Rascals, because you know what? I don't think enough people really give them mention.
Yo,
and
who
to be
did
honest
the
with you,
candy bar sample first? Them or Keith Murray?
I think they did it first.
I thought they did it first.
She looked like a
At the same time, but I
around the
think
same
Rascals
time.
did it first.
But I did want to say there was a point in time where, in my opinion, and it might have been a short period of time where, in my opinion, Red One was absolutely the best rapper in this country.
Really?
There was a period where I was just like, yo, I mean, it might have been around the time of Northern Touch, and just before I was like, fuck this guy.
I was a fan from Really Living. I liked them.
Really Living was a dope
I liked almost a Dreaded Fist of the Northwest.
Dreaded Fist?
When they're on the motorcycle, whatever.
Man,
like that shit set me off back in the day. I was like, yo, this video is crazy.
Yeah.
I've rapped over Dreaded Fist on that mixtape.
It's crazy.
And again, shouts to Much Music because they're Vancouver guys. It's like, I don't know how we would have discovered them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there was that one guy, I can't remember his name, he was on Northern Touch. He also has a track with Royce the 5'9". Is it Checkmate? He's got a track with Royce. And he murdered that shit, man.
Mo Littles has like some weird
concise.
Concise.
Yeah, they're
Sorry, I might be thinking more concise than Checkmate, but yeah, they were good, man.
They are dope. Yeah, man. Just goes to show you, man, like, you know, there's skill, like, countrywide.
Yeah.
And, you know, if anything, not that you're asking me this question, but I'll say it anyways, I think one of the top things that cheeses me, maybe even about my career, this whole thing, is the lack of recognition we get south of the border from hip-hop heads, because I've gotten so much love from people in other countries that are much further away.
Right.
Yeah.
That it now mind you, there's states love, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But on a whole, right, because, you know, hip hop, born and raised in the States, we all know where hip hop comes from. That when you hear what people have to say about Canada, never mind hip hop or Canadian rappers, forget that.
Yeah.
Just Canada in general. They have they have no clue at all.
Very little respect or care to even
we don't
understand.
give a shit, bro.
Like,
I saw Charlemagne the God talk about Don Cherry for a few minutes, and at the end of the whole thing, he's like, "What do they call mayonnaise in Canada?" and I don't know how that. And the guy goes, "I think they call it mayonnaise." You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't know anything.
Right.
And this is a man, like, I know he's a hip hop guy. Yeah. And it's like, you know what, bro? Come on, man.
What do they think? You know, and a lot of people think, and I think we're just as guilty of this as Americans are. Because I know this is like I spent a lot of time in the States in the last year, whereas I never really went before. I spent some time and just down there. You know, so my girlfriend always said to me, she's like, "How come when you walk by another black guy, you guys always give the head nod?" I'm like, it's because real recognize real. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why is guys always checking your Jordans or whatever? I'm like, because we're the same. Doesn't matter if we're in Toronto, if we're here, we're the same. But I think we developed this mentality, thinking, you know, like almost like intimidated by Americans, like we got to be extra this to be as good as them, and they might think like, oh, they're not like us, but really when you're down there and you see these guys, you're like, oh, that's just the same as my dude up the street. Like,
the real ones,
difference.
The real ones know. The real ones that I've met, perform with, open up for, whatever, they know. They show a lot of love. I've had people say shit. I remember opening up for OC. With Earth.
Oh, I remember that show.
You do? Comfort Zone?
Yeah, Ramos was doing it.
That's right.
Shout out Ramos.
Yeah, man.
Shit. What's the name of that series again? Oh, man.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I'm forgetting. He took us aside after the show and he was like, "Yo, y'all killed it, man. That freestyle stuff." Because we would put freestyle in every show.
Okay.
And this was 20 years ago. He's like, "I don't even freestyle anymore." And I was surprised because to us, freestyle was mandatory.
Yeah.
And so the people that I've...
Elemental.
Elemental,
the people that I've met, and not just artists, but like fans and stuff, when they really get to, when they do take it in.
Yeah.
This is not to say everybody's ignorant, that's not the case.
Right,
when they take it in, they show us a lot of love. And that's why I just wish that it would be, that it was a little bit more open by way of like their willingness. And I'm talking about people in position like Charlemagne the God or other people on podcasts and stuff like that. You are a so-called authority in the world of hip-hop media.
Right.
And so to know and understand a little bit more about maybe where hip-hop comes from.
Right.
Because you would think, and I'm going to ask you guys a question, because I've been asked this and I'm not even sure what the answer is. You would think that with Drake's success, that the floodgates would open a little bit.
Yeah.
And Toronto as a city, or perhaps Canada as a country, would get a little bit more of that, oh, what's going on up there? And now people know more.
Right.
And I don't know that that's happened exactly.
They want to know what's up, but they don't care to know more than what they know.
I think it has, but it hasn't. You know what I'm saying? And we're in the same position that, let's say, like a London is in. But the difference is we don't have the money that London and the UK has.
Yeah.
Whereas like guys from the UK could put out their Top Boy, you know what I mean? They could put that out, and Kano and Asher D are the stars of that. We don't have the money to put that out on Netflix and garner the same audience, but it's the same type of situation. It's just that, you know, London, they could say, fuck the States, and have their whole scene contained and still support it.
They already have it in
don't, you know what I mean?
I think you're not wrong, and I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why I think that is because England is geographically far removed.
Right.
And they have a European culture over there. And I believe this for all countries with their own language, even though of course they speak English in England.
Right.
Countries with their own language have artists and not just music, but like media, entertainment that speaks to their people. Here we are in Canada, right on the border of the States. It doesn't require much of us to understand what they're saying because we speak English, they speak English. Our accents might be different, but not all that much. So we get it. And they have 10 times the population that we do. So they're taking in everything they're doing. They don't need to take in what we're doing.
Right.
They don't care to.
No, absolutely.
And another thing is, I want to speak to your point, something that you said earlier that I think is the problem with Toronto. Here's my theory. Tell me what you think. I think the city suffers from an inferiority/superiority complex.
Absolutely.
Here's why.
Absolutely.
We are superior because we are Toronto, the city, the dot.
Yes.
All the heaviest shit comes from here. We're the biggest city. We're the motherfucking NBA champions. We are the shit. Hollywood films come and shoot here. Everybody's from here. We rule.
Yeah.
But we're inferior.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're in Canada.
Because we're not New York. We're not
inferior.
LA. Yes.
So we can be big shots here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But as soon as we cross the border, we're like, yo, accept me. I'm cool too.
Right.
And it's like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't just, Yo, that's what I think is happening. Because I've been to places in the States. I remember being in Texas and someone asked me, and I always do this on purpose because they always say Canada, like they don't recognize it. Canada's a big country. Yeah. I say I'm from Toronto.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Toronto.
Yeah.
People are getting to know that now. I've had people say, oh, Drake City and shit like that.
Yeah.
I say Toronto. Some people, I've had a person go, actually I lie, I was in LA. The person goes, is that in Texas? I said, I'm from Toronto. They're like,
to be fair, there are other Torontos, but
okay, fine.
Smaller towns, especially in the U.S. They got smaller towns in the U.S.
I know there's Ontario, California.
Okay, so now let's suppose they know Toronto.
Yeah.
They understand there's Raptors and Blue Jays and shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so they know I'll get, yo, they got black people in Canada?
Yep.
So forget about respect our MCs. If they don't know black people live here, you understand? So I just want to throw this out to whoever might be watching across the border, across the world. It's like, you know what? You're in a world now where doing your research is easy. You can Google and YouTube anything you want. So there are way too many MCs to mention. We've mentioned a lot during this podcast. There's DJs, there's MCs, there's a long list of people living and loving hip hop culture up here. I'm on album 5, and that's not even a thing. Like, there's so many, you know what I'm saying?
There's someone like Mocha Only, he's on like album 35.
35?
He's got a lot of, probably 85.
Bro,
that guy, got a lot of albums.
If he's not over 100, I'm shocked.
Yeah. You know what? You're probably right.
I'm not even playing.
Because every time G's like, hey, I probably have the most albums. I'm like, no, Mocha got you beat by a landslide, bro. You know, Mocha.
But I will say this, man, and the talent is vast as well.
Yeah.
Right on down to what we were talking about earlier. Like, we all have different tastes in hip hop.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone's gonna feel me. I'm okay with that. Not everyone's gonna feel. But we have so much going on up here that you got your different flavors.
No,
you got your different styles. You got your different cities all across this country.
For sure.
Of artists doing their thing.
Well, I want to.
That's all I would love to see continue to grow is a recognition.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I had. See, it's funny. This is another thing. I have a relationship with my man Sky the Cookin' Jacks from Japan. I've done about 3 records with him now, and he releases them strictly on vinyl out there. So the most recent record that I did, that's not even out yet, is a record where one of my lines is, it's crazy. My next door neighbors don't have the faintest ideas about my flavors. My playlist, they skip like Bayless, only knowing who Drake is. Yeah. But in Japan, they say this. Play that dear hip-hop shit, it's the greatest. Because legitimately, there are people who have no idea who I am, and they're from Scarborough, but I have all these people across the world. I just legit today agreed to do a record with an artist from Spain.
Dope.
It's like, the internet's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
For what it's doing now for artists that it wasn't doing back in our Much Music days.
Yeah.
But somehow it's still strange how like I got people.
Mentalities are still locked.
Yo, next door neighbors don't know me, but Spain and Brazil and Japan and France. So it's an interesting world, this hip hop thing, and I find like Canada, although it's getting it here and there.
Yeah.
My wish to God is like, yo, let these floodgates open and let these people know what we got going on, because there's so much fire happening in this country.
It's been happening, yo.
Oh, I would too long. I'm gonna shout out like Frank and Dink, because they were from Detroit and they came up here.
They know what's up.
You know what I'm saying? So they knew what was up.
He's not leaving.
You know what I'm saying? Like they knew what was up to come up here. But you know what? I always tell people in the States when they're like
Frank
and Dink
and Thrust.
Thrust?
Is it Frank and Thrust? They got a little.
Oh, they're affiliated.
What's the duo called?
Oh, you're right. Man, he says it in my record.
Shit.
T to the D, is it?
I think that is
they say T to the D. It's. I think that means Toronto and Detroit and Thrust and Dink.
But I always tell people, like, when I'm down there in the States and like, oh, where are you from? I say Toronto, and like, oh, I want to come up there. Or what's it like? I always tell them straight up, like, listen, you've only got 2 cities in this country bigger than Toronto, so don't shit on Toronto. That's New York and LA. Chicago's not even bigger than Toronto.
Oh, really?
Nope.
I didn't even know that.
The 4th biggest cities in North America are like Mexico, Los Angeles, New York, Toronto.
Correct.
Remember
right?
Famous?
So I tell people, listen, so when I'm down there, what's that?
The famous joint.
But I always tell people, you know what I'm saying, like when I'm down there, or you know, they're like, so what's Toronto like or whatever? I'm like, listen, if you know, the only bigger cities is New York and LA, so you come up here, you're gonna see shit in Toronto.
And I'll say this much: when people do come up here, then they get it.
Word.
They get it.
You know, it's like this.
Yeah.
But I think
Toronto's
one of the biggest cities.
Kind of place.
I think one of the biggest problems that we have is that we sleep too much in this city. You know what I mean? Like I don't like the fact. I get the fact that bars gotta close at 2. But I think if bars were open a lot longer,
legit, like literally,
you know what I mean, like just our entertainment scene and just our downtown scene, whatever. You know, you could walk around at a certain point and it's like ghost town downtown, and it's like it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, all right, fuck it. You know, like, I'm gonna go over to this venue and go catch the
They leave the city. They keep the city.
Let me throw this out there.
The junkies keep the city alive.
I never thought about it that way. I wonder. I don't know this is fact. You guys can tell me. I don't know if that's federal law or provincial for the bars to not serve alcohol?
It's provincial.
Yeah. Okay, provincial.
So and they can change it when it's like Fashion Week or they'll do it when it's like the Canadian Cup. They'll be like, yeah, go to the bars and drink at 4 a.m. or whatever.
But if it's white rich people, they can change it.
Yes, absolutely. Or FIFA.
Do you think that there is any correlation between a 2 a.m. last call and our, by comparison, much smaller crime rate than the United States?
It's a good question.
I don't know this to be a fact. I'm wondering. Because I've never looked at Toronto as a ghost town those times, but I do get that that's when the party starts winding because of the alcohol thing. And
that and just travel distance. Like I remember there was a time when I would go down to it was called Gypsy Co-op back in the day. It's not called Gypsy Co-op anymore. But it was with Mindbender and more or less an Eternia used to host it. So I would go down on the Thursdays just so I could get on the mic at 1:30, 2 a.m. for that freestyle session. Now, to get home back to Scarborough, it would take me till 7 a.m. to get back. Now, if you are young, if you're 19, 20, and you want to support the hip hop scene and everything's being done downtown, it's really hard to get back to Scarborough or back to North York or whatever. You know what I mean? After coming out and doing it. So that's another thing too where we got the shit subway system that's not 24 hours in and of itself, and it shuts down before the bars and clubs shut down. So it's kind of it's kind of collapsing things as far as
that's one thing the city needs is the transit system needs to.
You know what it is though, Toronto? It's still is as much as we're expanding, the mentality is still of a small town.
No, it's ancient because it was built like a small town. Like look at the Gardiner Expressway. It wasn't built to the problem is the city is developing at a rate in which it can't make improvements. Like there's a city, what is it? Is it Brazil? The city where like whoever built it like 200 years ago, they had the foresight where like at large intersections, your corners are rounded, and the streets like they're like 5 lanes. And at the time, it's like people are riding like horseback and shit. And they're like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, trust me, to like you're wasting all this valuable like
space and land.
Space right here where we can have stores and shit.
Toronto, man, especially downtown. You see the downtown.
Man, as tight as possible. Squeezed in as much money as you could. Had no foresight about the future, the influx, the increase of people. Well, I can't remember what city it is. Brazil? It wouldn't be Brazil. Is Brazil city or country?
No, Brazil's a country. So it's Sao Paulo.
What city is it?
Rio de Janeiro or something. Maybe it's probably Sao Paulo.
It might be Rio. Somebody I know went there, but they were very into the architecture of it, and they like researched it, and like that, it was literally built with that foresight. And the people at the time were like, "You're fucking nuts," and he's
definitely
like,
gotta look that up.
And even at this time, like my man's like, "Yo, it's comfy. Like you're walking around, and it's cool. Like it's like metropolitan-ish. You know, millions of people.
That's how we got here.
You know, but you're
Toronto has always destroyed the culture of the people in Toronto.
Yeah,
I feel that.
So when you remember the jungle scene got big,
and
then you know the city partnered,
closed the raves.
They partnered with the jungle scene,
and then they wanted to shut down all the raves and deem them illegal. And
the rave scene in Toronto was
huge, massive, massive, and then it shrunk down to just
And the thing is, it was bigger than when the city got.
We were having rappers coming up and performing at raves, like MOP, Run DMC, Eminem. These guys were coming up and performing, but these raves would be at like train tracks up in like Markham or something, you know what I mean, or exhibition or something. Like, okay, word, you wouldn't know till the day of, and then you find a word and you go show up. But yeah, there was a time when raves were getting fucking massive. When I was in high school, I was like 16, 17. The raves were just getting out of hand up in this place.
Oh man, I wish I could have done that.
We were like, other than London, we were like the rave capital of the
world. Whatever you were into, Toronto street culture in the late 80s, early the 90s,
mid to late 90s,
2000 to a certain point. It was its own beast.
Man, Friday night Caravana was the shit, bro. Like, we didn't have Freaknik up on here, but we had Friday nights during Caravana up here. And for years, that was the craziest. Young Street on a Friday night Caravana weekend.
Oh, Friday.
Oh my God, these kids, like, people will never know what that was like. I don't know when they ended that, but that used to be.
Is it done?
They don't still do that anymore. The cops don't do that anymore.
Friday night's not
last time I went.
Probably like 2008.
You see a bunch of 35-year-olds.
You see more cops than you
and
saw.
And a bunch of 17-year-olds. That's how big the gap was. So it was dudes are 35.
That's weird.
And girls that are 17.
You know what is lit though? Pride.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's a party. It's lit.
Yeah, it's a lit party.
No, Pride is definitely a fun party, man. I've gone whenever I've had the opportunity.
Caravana Friday night.
They party hard down there.
I mean, just doing nothing.
So it'd be Young Street.
That was me back in the day.
Yeah, because it would be Young Street from like College Park right down to like almost Queens.
Nothing.
Cops, dude, guys would be driving with like a big fifth of a Henny, swigging that, and cops couldn't do shit because there was so many vehicles. Hydraulics. The only thing the cops would stop was if you had hydraulics on your car and someone was like on the front of your car.
And it's funny because you brought up how long it took. When we used to do that shit, I wouldn't reach home till like 7 in the morning.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, it was crazy.
That's what Pride doesn't have. They don't have that aspect.
Oh, dude, definitely not.
The only thing that sucked
about the only thing I can think of now where you actually have like a full-fledged party in Toronto.
Caravana. I mean, we still have Caravana itself, but that Friday night, you knew you were hearing at least 5 gunshots that night. Like, you knew you were gonna separate from your boys, and you had to do the stampede run a couple of times.
You leave the club, whatever. There's nothing else to do. Remember, it's 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
The bars are open to a certain time.
Yeah.
You don't want to go home.
It was an all-night party though.
Yeah.
And it was good on the pockets because you're not paying admission to going nowhere.
Yeah.
You're just standing there hearing all the music from all the cars passing.
And let's face it, it was all about
till at least
to College Park.
College Park.
At least College Park.
And it was all about watching Galvin.
Yep. And you front like you were American. You tell them you were American. You tell them
I'm not
from here. You just try to chop.
I'll tell you right now. I'll put this on record. I never did that shit, bro. Every year.
I like that. I can respect that.
Nah, guy.
I can respect that.
Because you know why? Because it cheesed me, guy. Because
you see the girl next week.
That was my whole. No, but my whole thing was like, yo.
Don't front.
The girls, if they were into that American shit, it was like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like,
why you here? Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Toronto man's. So no, I didn't like that shit, bro. It was the same feeling I got when I was in high school, and you try to chop girls in high school, but they like the older guys who drove the car.
Gotcha.
Why you going with these older guys?
And that's what the Americans were when they came.
That's exactly what they were.
Because they're coming with the rentals and their Florida plates.
Yeah, man, and the spinning rims.
Yeah,
and shit.
but you know how many of those guys were coming here thinking like, oh, it's Toronto, these guys are soft, and they were getting robbed on the reg. Like there was guys who were just going out specifically Carabana weekend just to rob. It was robbing.
That was my mindset. It's like, yo, don't sleep on the Toronto, man.
Yeah.
That's a fucking money mark right there, man. You're not even in your own city.
I'm not gonna lie. There is one Carabana.
You're a fucking fish, bro.
There is one Carabana. I spent $100 just so that I could get about $500 in counterfeit 20s. I let all that shit go that weekend. I came back with like $350 Canadian in my pocket. Like it was a good weekend.
Wow.
I did that once. I'll never do that again. I did that once.
Man.
But I made money that weekend, bro. I made a good amount of money that weekend. All the parking lots, all the hot dog vendors, all the roads.
Bro,
I just went and like
just once out of it like a regular.
Nah, you have to do it on a weekend like that because if you try to do it on regular, you're gonna get booked. But you do it on a weekend like that, and pretend you're a tourist going to these guys when it's high demand time. They're not checking the 20s like that. You know what I'm saying? So you just
but
cash
there's
back.
always something that's high demand going on around here.
Listen, I mean,
that's why I'd be rinsing that fucking 5 days a week.
That weekend was the money making for
anybody, bro. If you want to sell water, selling water was the lick. You grab 2 cases of water, you go beers. Yeah. You can sell one Heineken for $7 in a brown paper bag at Carabana. Like you just go down and like, yo, you want a Heineken? $7.
I used to sell CDs at Carabana. Yeah, people were buying CDs. I came home with $5 once. Yeah.
Dude, water,
it wasn't
$2
even my album. It was like a mixtape.
Yeah, man.
Shit one.
It was a money maker.
Because I'm no DJ, so me and my brethren, shout out my man Courtney. Yo,
do you know what Boy Don said?
Yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, my old engineer. Yeah, I thought so. But he has some of your really old mixtapes.
Oh man, I wonder if it's one of those because we just put together like a gang of tracks with some of our tracks.
Yeah.
But you know, those were the days.
He has little pickles and everything. Like, he has like he has like all your shit. So I wouldn't be surprised he had some of your Carabana.
Shout out to Dustin. Shout out to my man Luke and Wilson who.
Oh shit, Luke and make some noise.
That dude, yo man, I have to say like I get every so often there's those cats who are like I got your whole collection. And I'm like that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No doubt.
It's really incredible.
We gotta wind it down soon.
It's about 125.
Hold on, before he goes into that. Yeah, he talked about that a little bit earlier. But I did want to touch on some because you did say something last week that was, or there was something that happened, and some of the stuff you were saying last week was very poignant.
About Don Cherry.
Yes, exactly. So I want to ask you, you know what I'm saying, like just your piece on Don Cherry, and you know what I mean, what happened with Remembrance Day and whatnot, and. Because you were getting passionate online, as was I.
Yeah,
every
so often, it's one of those, like, I can't help it, I have to say something. I try to learn not to argue with strangers on Facebook, and then it's like, fuck, dude.
3 hours into
I can't let dumb shit slide sometimes.
Yeah.
Let me break it down like this, and this is one of those things.
Yeah.
In the year 2019, everything that is said and done, like this podcast, is being recorded.
Yeah.
If I get called out on something, it may be because I said it in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if I go back to the video, I might go, okay, and then maybe I'll have to, but here's the thing.
Context.
Don Cherry, your shit has been played 1,000,000 times. It wasn't on TV once and we thought we heard something.
Yeah.
We've watched it over and over and over and over again. We know what you said, and you said, you people that come here.
To our land of milk and honey.
It's not even. It's
what he said.
It's the "you people" is like the catchphrase, but that's not the thing.
Well, there's a video
that's not what he said.
That's what he said.
Here's the thing, though.
He's like, you people should all rock.
Here's the thing. He keeps trying to make it seem like he was talking about people.
No.
Canadians should be wearing poppies. If what you were saying is all Canadians should wear poppies in respect of it. No one's going to have a problem.
Right.
But that's not what he said.
Right.
Even the people who are mad at Don Cherry because he used the term you people are still missing the point, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If I had I'm having a conversation with you guys and I'm like, you know what? You people don't know hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the three of you based on the context of the conversation.
Right.
What he did, he didn't stop at you people.
Right.
No.
The words he used was you people that come here and enjoy the Canadian lifestyle.
Well, what did he say before that, though? This is what people are forgetting too. What he said before that is, I was walking downtown Toronto and Mississauga.
So
he's almost insinuating I'm walking downtown seeing...
So here's the thing. Because you could read between the lines and say, he's talking about Saga and Toronto, multicultural places.
Yes.
You could read between the lines. But you're allowed to give him the benefit of the doubt when you read between the lines.
Yes.
If he had said, I wish you people would all wear poppies. Everyone in Canada. He's not going to get in trouble.
He said that in a video before in '97. So somebody put up a video like, well, he says you people, and I watched it, and it was like, and Ron tried to catch him. He's like, oh, I don't see you have a poppy. He's like, what do you mean I don't have a poppy? My poppy's right here. You thought I wouldn't catch you? He's like, you people should all wear a poppy on Remembrance Day. And so people are trying to compare, and I'm like, well, that's apples and this is oranges.
This is what he said.
Exactly.
That's the
apples
thing.
and oranges.
Everything is context.
Yes.
Everything is what you mean.
Yes.
Listen, bro, I explain myself all the time in terms of what I write as an MC. I work as a writer, like in a lot of different facets. As far as my career is concerned, I was an English major in school. I learned to make a point and back it up with evidence. That's just how I write anything that I write.
Right.
So here's me backing my point up with evidence. Here's the evidence. Don Cherry said, you people that come here and enjoy the Canadian lifestyle.
Yes.
So if you say the words you people, I'm not going to get offended unless I know which people you're talking about. And that's the point, Don Cherry and all your supporters. I know which people he called you people. It's the people that come here. Now, on top of him making a comment to immigrants, why I'm so vexed and adamant about what I'm saying is, it's not just that he's singling immigrants out. He's making a baseless comment. He's saying that you people that come here are the reasons he's not seeing people wear poppies.
Right.
If that was a factual statement, he would have to go up to every person not wearing a poppy and go, what country are you from? What country do you come from? What country do you come from? And then after you discover that most of these people aren't from here, that then gives you enough reason to go, I conducted a survey. And I've discovered that the majority of people who don't wear poppies happen to be people who aren't born Canadians. And I would like to send a message to all you new Canadians. I would love it if you would learn about the history. There's a way to phrase shit.
Absolutely.
But he didn't say that.
Absolutely.
And he didn't say that because it's not what he meant.
Right.
He said a bigoted thing. He said a baseless and prejudiced thing.
And he meant it.
And then on top of that, he goes on to Fox News and he doubles down.
Absolutely.
I meant what I said. I stand by what I said.
Yeah.
And when he was on Fox News, the font on the screen was hockey broadcaster accuses Canadian immigrants of not wearing poppies.
So exactly what he said.
The talk is done.
No.
You singled out immigrants and you made a bullshit comment. That's why everyone defending him, I don't get it, bro. Like, it's clear.
And on top of that,
and the other dumb thing is, Don Cherry, I don't care maybe if you're even born Canadian, you're a fucking immigrant.
Correct.
You're not Aboriginal, bro.
Well, not even just that. We went to war in World War II to fight fascism. In fascism, you have forced military celebrations. You see what I'm saying? You have to celebrate the leader. You have to celebrate the military. We actually went to war to make sure that you could celebrate what you choose to celebrate. So it would be the classy thing. It would be the nice thing to celebrate Remembrance Day. However, if you decide that you do not want to, you are not forced to. And that is the Canadian.
And there is the beauty of living in Canada.
Exactly.
You are free. It's the same thing Americans shout out. Freedom. Freedom.
Right.
So if you're free, you're allowed to be you. You're allowed to be you, and you're allowed to be you.
The funny thing is,
4 different people from 4 different backgrounds, all celebrating hip hop, all celebrating being Canadian. And for you or anyone else to go, you're supposed to do this, is anti-Canadian.
Exactly.
That's what people leave their countries for.
And let me just say this. Now, I have poppies that are on my wall from past Remembrance Day. Because when I buy them and I keep them, I'm like, let me just pin it in the wall. You know what I mean? Just there or whatever. Now, this year, I saw poppies being sold one day in November. I just happened to be going into my Sobeys. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grab a poppy. But by the time I came out, that person was already gone. I didn't see any poppies sold at all in the month of November until... Believe it or not, until the 12th of November at the Starbucks that I go to every morning. And I'm sitting there looking at this box like, why the hell is this out today? Where was it yesterday and every other day? So, as much as Don wants to say that, I understand because I thought to myself, I'm not seeing a lot of poppies this year before that message ever came out, but I didn't see anybody selling poppies this year.
You didn't look at it as an immigrant problem.
Maybe
that's my whole point.
Right.
I want to make, since I have this platform with you guys, I want to state emphatically, and this is being recorded and can play back, that I do not have a problem with Don Cherry's sentiment that Canadians should respect our fallen war heroes.
For sure.
I don't have a problem with that. That's what him and his supporters keep saying. Oh, people should. It's about the war veteran.
No, you
I'm not opposed
but
to
that doesn't change the fact.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm opposed to you singling out immigrants as the people who don't wear poppies. Right. Not only is it not factual, okay, not as it is a bigoted and hateful, prejudiced thing to say, but it's not factual, okay? It's bro, like you're just everything about your statement was incorrect.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. You're defending something else, but not saying I'm sorry for having said something that I
did not buy a poppy this year,
and hateful.
And I personally know one immigrant who did.
Exactly.
So from my own personal experience, firsthand, I know more immigrants who wore them than did not.
Thank you.
Actually.
There we go.
And how do you know? That's my point.
No,
like,
you can't know.
You can't know
and
if someone's born here or not born here.
He was basing it on skin color. And as a person of color,
you love our way of life.
As a person of color in Canada, I'm sure you've been asked. I've been asked. I'm sure. How many times have you been asked? Right. Where are you from? Where are you really from? Where are you from? You're like, I'm Canadian.
In all of that shit that you noticed on Facebook, who do you think are the people defending Don Cherry? It's the kind of people, and I posted
racist white people.
I wouldn't necessarily all call them racist.
They're not all racist, but the ones who aren't racist are the ones who are racist who don't realize they're racist.
I was told
the ones who are like, yo, I got like 12 black friends. I'm not racist. Those kind of white people.
I was told to go back to my country.
Yeah.
These are the So here's the thing. Let's suppose I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Let's suppose you are steadfastly of the mind that all Canadians should wear poppies.
Right.
That's not that much of an arguable statement. Yeah. But that's not what you're saying. You're telling me I need to go back to my country, which proves my point.
Yep. Yeah.
Not your point.
Right. Yep.
Because it matters not to you, person that I'm talking about, that I'm a born and raised Canadian.
Right.
You're still of the mind I should go back to my country.
Right.
So what's different between what you said and what Don Cherry said? You're proving my point.
Yeah, and that's that whole like old stock,
that's the people arguing with me,
you know what I'm
and
saying?
defending Don Cherry.
But they don't understand that some of the new stock, who they think is new stock, is actually
been
old
here
stock.
for years. Yeah.
Yo, can I make a random quote here? Who here has seen the movie Rudy?
Yeah.
Rudy is the definition of white privilege.
Where the kid walks, or he gets onto the practice team.
Okay, a fucking triumph story of a kid who only wants to play fucking football, but he's never good enough, so he's the janitor at the stadium. And the triumphant moment is when he gets put in for the play when the game was already a sure win, and it was just a last minute play just to let him, because Rudy had so much heart. Like, people look at it like it's triumphant. It's fucking pitiful. And I'm like, this is the definition of white privilege. This is what white people have to look up to. Like, we faced adversity. I'm like, radio's a better movie.
I was just about to say radio.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, what? I'm like I'm talking about it the other day. I'm like, it's literally the worst movie of all time.
I just say radio, and Cuba Gooding Jr.'s whole life is falling apart at the seams right now.
It's just mediocrity. It's the definition of every kid gets a medal nowadays. It is exactly that. But it's made to be this triumphant moment. I'm like, that's how fucking trash white people are. Is that you are taking a mediocrity moment to look at as triumphant, because that is the definition of white privilege. You are so fucking privileged you looked at that as adversity.
Right.
He had a dream.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to try to tie it into Rocky somehow, but I don't know how to tie it into
Rocky. A lot of people got fucking dreams, Rudy.
It reminds me of a phrase that I'm going to say wrong, so if you guys know the phrase, correct me. But it's like to someone, to those who are privileged, oppression is having...
Equality feels like oppression.
Equality feels like oppression.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Because they feel... Because here's the funny thing that's going around now, right? I don't remember the woman's name. Maybe you guys do. A woman came out on, was it The Social, that talk show?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And made the comment about white hockey players being bullied and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And all the Don Cherry supporters came out saying,
she should be fired.
She should be fired.
Yeah.
She should have, like, they're trying to, so you got a white lady talking about white people. And as soon as someone says, here's an example of white people being bad, these bullyish hockey players, white people lose their minds, because all of a sudden you're gonna bring yourselves to where we are always, what we're continually stereotyped to be.
Right.
And now you're mad.
Yeah.
So that also contradicts you saying that Don Cherry shouldn't have been fired, because you want this woman.
Right.
Can I just say one thing?
So it's like, make up your minds. Are we too sensitive? Are we snowflakes and pussies?
White pride,
you know what I'm saying?
White pride is the most trash thing that has ever existed. I have heard white boys who like rap music.
Oh, that's
say white pride.
That's a little weird.
And be
to me.
like,
that's why we started this
because
show.
I'm allowed to love who I am.
Yeah.
It's not a racist thing. I'm like, the fact that you're even saying that, I'm like, there's no bigger embarrassment on a day-to-day basis than being a white person. Walking around in public being white is just trash.
No, I see that.
And it's trash on a different level because it's embarrassing if you understand what it is to be white. It's embarrassing.
That's false. Okay.
No, I'm saying that not in the way.
Let
the white man on the panel. I find that an interesting comment.
What if, by listening to hip hop, it showed white people to take pride in their culture?
It doesn't.
But what if it did?
You know what?
It shouldn't.
I think
what if it did?
You should take pride in your individual culture. The thing is, white is not a culture.
I get what he's saying. Like,
we
you
are
can
all
be proud to be German, you
fucking
can be proud to be from England or Scottish, Irish.
But black, you see the thing about black culture, it's the same shit. Literally, it's the same shit.
I think that there is an unfortunate misunderstanding between the word pride and, it might sound corny, but like, I was going to say prejudice, but like hate. So in other words, you can be proud of who you are without hating.
Yeah.
And I think what too many people don't understand is that there is a difference, and to people who continually feel hate, we know the difference. This is why we can hear you people that come here and go, hold on, what are you trying to say? And the people he's not talking about go, he didn't say anything wrong. They're not offended. So if you're proud to be white, okay, fine. You're supposed to be proud of whatever you are.
Be proud of who you are.
It shouldn't be to the point where you can make statements and go, you shouldn't be offended because I'm not offended.
Right. That's why I'm very careful when I use the word.
That's white privilege. Yeah. I'm not offended, so you shouldn't be either.
And that's why I'm very careful when I use the word racist and when I use the word bigoted. I find that people have used the word racist in place of the word bigoted, where they should be using bigoted a lot more than racist.
I agree.
You understand what I'm saying? And this would change a lot of things because. You know, you can be proud of who you are and where you're from, but if you're so proud that you're looking down on other people, that's not necessarily racism. That's being a bigot.
But that's the difference.
Right.
Yeah. My thing is, I don't even care if you're racist or not. That means nothing to me. Oh, you're racist, fine. You're not a racist, even better. What is coming out of your mouth?
Right.
You can say bigoted and racist and whatever things, and not be that, but you're doing it.
Right.
That's what I was just going to say.
I'm not a thief, but I think
a lot of the most racist people I know are the people who actually
my album as a coaster, bro?
Oh, sorry. The only reason it's here is because I was trying to get in to talk about it.
I know, we will, but
my bad. Sorry about that, bro. Yeah, no,
sorry.
That's ignorant.
But yeah, no, it always does. This is why we start.
What I'm thinking is like the most racist people I know are people who actually don't think they're racist.
Right.
Then some of the people I know who actually like to think they're racist are actually personally on the inside, me as knowing them, are the least racist people. Yeah. But they think it almost like sounds cool to be edgy and say racist things. It's like sometimes the spectrums are mixed up too.
But it definitely weirds me out to see, you know, and I hate to say it, but it definitely weirds me out to see white rappers specifically in country who side with that old stock Canadian, side with that right wing, that alt-right shit, because it's like
that's why Yellow Wolf is trash.
But that's why like me and Maloney did an interview, and how we conceived of coming up with the concept of this show and then bringing Mike in was because we had a long convo of that, and I was like, dude, this shit's blowing my mind. And after what happened was I made a post on Facebook. I got very few likes on the post. Maloney says the exact same thing. 150 fucking likes, all these comments, and it's like
we literally made the exact same post.
Wow. I'm getting shitted on by people that are liking what he's saying, and it's like, something's not adding up here. So exactly, they're looking at me like, oh, you're too militant in what you're saying versus what he's saying.
You're being. Yeah, so, exactly.
Very interesting. I actually did the same. I put a Dear Hip Hop. I said, Dear Hip Hop, watch all these people who say they represent you.
I saw that.
A lot of them are closet racists. I'm not quoting myself.
Yeah.
Because, dude, to your point, the amount of, like this whole conversation, the amount of people who are trying to shit down my neck, who are claiming hip hop.
And you're like, how's it possible?
Yeah. I had a man tell, this is one of my favorites. I had a man tell me that everyone skips my garbage verse.
I saw that, and I laughed. He's not even on the song, and then someone commented on it.
But You know,
can we have a debate as fans here? Or can we not burn these fucking bridges and offend people? Who has the worst verse on Northern Touch?
Oh fuck! I say Thrust. I love you, Thrust.
Yes. You got yes.
We're talking about
love Thrust, but yes, you're not wrong with that. You are not wrong with that at all.
Shout out to everybody.
It's between him and my man.
Who's that? The guy from Rascals?
The only guy on the song I've interviewed.
The only guys.
That's for people to break the math down.
Check it.
Yeah. Why'd you have to call him?
Well, I can't be mad at Shocks.
No, I know. Because the shout. That's why I would have to actually.
Did you
say.
shout out Dr. J on that too? Or that was in the remix?
Can we try to get Bishop and Chalks on here at the same time?
Hold on. I think Thrust had technically the better verse.
It kind of seems like they might be, you know.
I think technically Thrust's verse is better than Shock's, but I always enjoyed listening to Shock's verse more than Thrust.
I like Shock's verse a lot more than Thrust's.
I was ready to skip when Thrust came on almost.
There's a lot of Thrust records that I like.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's definitely so.
I think too, and I only learned this recently because Thrust and Choclair were the two artists from Northern Touch who performed that song at my release party. And we put Thrust first because of the breakup of the song. It's Rascals first, and Thrust goes last. So Thrust went first, then Choclair, and it fit. And I discovered that apparently the two of them, I don't know if it was a flip of a coin, but it was between second or last. And it was fate that just happened to. I don't know if it was a flip of a
like that.
The placing,
Because you know what?
And I think placing has a lot to.
If it placed, but I
that's
don't
my
know.
point.
But
Placing has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Arrangement. I say this to people all the time. I spent so much time on arranging this album.
Yeah.
When you break down the drums. And before Shocks rhymes, and then he gets into it, and then the drums don't come in, and then
a little bit of a switch,
that matters, man.
Yeah, because you're hearing that opening couple bars for sure.
Yeah.
I mean that's what got and just that talking arrangement. That's what got UGK and thing with Outkast. Was it not Oscar, Grammy off the the I
Makes
Choose
a
You
difference.
was
But
basically when they broke down the verse for Andre 3000 to kind of have his almost spoken word and then jump back in halfway through with the drums kick back in.
Right.
That won them that Grammy. You know what I mean?
It plays a big role.
But that's the thing with like hip hop up to a certain point. It's like, you can have two sides of the argument. It's like Tory Lanez said, hip hop's in a bad place. You've had a lot of artists say this. You had KRS come out say recent. Like you've had artists from every generation
coming in and out of camera like crazy right now.
But say the same shit, right? So it's not even just a thing of where it's old hater shit.
Yeah.
New school dudes feel the same way.
Always.
As long as they view hip hop
guys have felt the same
spectrum.
Way since you know what I mean? Kumo D battled Spoonie G.
But the point I'm making is. Oh, fuck. What the fuck are we talking about?
The date all changed. We gotta go. What do you want
to
know?
Let's give my man the floor. You know what I'm saying? For the last couple moments here. Let's let him shout out to people. Shout out where people can get his music. His most recent albums. Because we actually went long this episode. We're coming up on hour 45. Definitely good combo.
Century, I was curious. You and Century link up together because you got her on here twice.
Yeah, she's on the album 3 times over.
Is it 3?
She's on 3 tracks.
That's our sister.
Holy shit! Yeah.
So I'll happily answer that. First of all, I love Century, man. I met Century when I was a judge at a showcase, and the showcase started late. So the artists and the judges were sitting around waiting for it to kick off, and we were at a table, and Century was at the table kicking jokes. Like the girl was just funny.
Yeah, she's a funny girl.
And she's sitting there, and I'm like, yo, this girl's hilarious, and she's beautiful, and I'm like, damn, like what she got going on. And then she was the first to perform, and I'm like, I already know who won this shit. Her voice is so pure and raw.
It is.
I was like, she's fucking fire. So I ended up talking to her. Obviously, I'm like, we got to do a record.
Yeah.
And I think it was in the early stages of me even thinking about doing a record. I didn't even know for sure I was going to do the entire album about like fatherhood and all that. But she's a mom, and I'm like, you know what? You can relate. Here's my idea. So we hooked up at a pre-production studio. I had sent her 3 beats. And for 2 of them, I had ideas. I said, one is Baby Girl. This is a song about loving the fact that I have a daughter. You know, a lot of guys have a baby on the way and they're like, I hope it's a boy. I'm like, nah, it's about my girl. That's what that song's about. Another song is about the monolith and how people keep asking me about my crew all the time. So my answer to that is, we're a family. Don't watch the whole hip-hop thing. This is my family. Because that's a legit response. These are my boys. That's what that song is about. This 3rd song, I have no idea. I just got the beat. I have no idea. So then we show up at the session, and we work together on Baby Girl and Family Stays. we went back and forth and created a chorus and worked out what she was going to do. She does a bridge on Baby Girl as well. Worth All the Hurt is all her. I had no ideas for it. I'm just like, I love this beat. She did the verse. I'm like, not the verse. She did the hook. I'm like, I'm not changing a fucking thing. I love that. So she deserves credit for having inspired me to write what I write. And I want to put out there that my personal opinion of my own material, Worth All the Hurt, is the best record I've ever made. That's my personal taste.
That's big. That's big.
Shout out to
Century.
That's huge right there.
Shout out to Century. Yeah.
Shout out to Century.
For an artist to say that, that's really big. So shout out to Century Sam. That's our fam. We love her. She came on the show, tore it down with us.
She's gonna come
She's
up
welcome
here.
back anytime she wants. And you know, I know she's going through something, but it looked like she had a great time in Jamaica. So I'm happy to see that. Road to recovery. Definitely happy to see that right there. So Sam, you gotta come back whenever you want. Tell your story. Talk about what happened if you want to let the people know.
Make some noise.
Yeah, man. Definitely. For sure.
Yeah, it's what. Love her, man. I mean, aside from this album right now and the video you got with Century, what else you got popping off? You got anything new coming up? Anything?
So yeah, a brand new 5-inch single is out right now from Japan.
5-inch.
And dude, it's the exact same size as a CD, but it's a vinyl.
Say word. I've never seen a 5-inch record.
Neither have I.
A 7-inch.
Until I just got
7s. Okay.
I've seen a 7. I've never seen a 5.
Okay.
Go to my Instagram, Daneo1010. DANEO 1010, and then you'll see the 5 inches that I'm talking about. So there's a remix for a track I did years ago called Dear Hip Hop Return to Sender, and Amu track out in Japan remix it, so that's on 5-inch now, and a new 5-inch is coming out with Sky to Cook and Jacks, a double side, a record that hasn't even, that's coming out. Other than that, my latest single and video is called Vertebrae, and it's a short film, so check out Vertebrae on YouTube. And everybody in Ottawa, come out to Avant-Garde on November 29th for my release party.
Dope. That's what's. And we didn't even get to talk about your acting today, nuts. We gotta get you back to talk about some acting, man. Because I've been seeing you up in was it the Pepto-Bismol commercial? Oh, were you in Pepto-Bismol?
No, I never did Pepto-Bismol.
No,
you're thinking
the
Pizza Pops.
Yes.
Ago.
Pizza Pops, yes.
This building, by the way, I don't know if y'all know, but I audition here all the time.
Yeah. Nice. Because of the acting thing. I told you.
The Milestone, whatever it is down there.
I audition Milestone all the time.
Proper. I'm looking, like I said, we were talking earlier, I'm looking to get some background and take some courses and maybe, transition into that myself.
So what you might see next, my last shoot was for Remax, so I might be in
Daniel, the day it all changed.
Day it all changed.
Yo, can we ask you a favor that we haven't asked a single guest, so it is an honor? We've never asked someone prior, but before we finish, can you look in that camera and do a drop for us?
Yeah. Sure. Turono Talks, or do you need it?
Yeah, Turono Talks Podcast. That's
okay. Yo, this is your bro Danny, representing the mighty Mono from Toronto, and you are tuned into the Turono Talks Podcast. This is where it lives, baby. Hip hop.
Hey!
Before we leave, I just want to say, I used to ride the RT every fucking day, and it was an honor to see the Monolith Dwarfs on that RT ride, right by Lawrence. I used to love that shit, man. And I'm sad that it's not there anymore.
The infamous, are you talking the infamous Monolith mural?
There is,
that was amazing.
If you haven't seen it, the final video off this album is called 20 Years Later.
And you guys shot.
And I revisit
the spot.
The graffiti-less spot where it used to be.
I remember, I see that.
Man, if you guys
that's the joint with Cable, right?
Cable Infraction.
Yeah, shout out to Cable. Cable's
if you guys don't know, in Scarborough, we have this thing called the RT. It's a shit version of the subway. It goes from Scarborough Town Center.
Yeah, that shit is trash, man.
We all skip school on Fridays and go frequent. And it goes to Kennedy Station, which is where our subway line starts. But along that pathway, there's along the way to Lawrence East Station, there's a lot of graffiti. And one of the biggest bombs on that track was a huge Monolith piece. And if you're from Scarborough, if you're a rapper from Scarborough, you took pride in just seeing that because it was like, hey man, if they could do it, I could do it. And that's like, for me, coming from Scarborough, you guys set it off for me. Like I said, Nish was that dude at HMV, and you were that dude that they all told me, Danny's our leader. Danny's the guy you got to go talk to. Danny's the guy who kind of has, that focus. So just coming from Scarborough, what you guys did for the rest of the men in Scarborough, forever.
I did want to ask you about Knee Deep Records too.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't on Knee Deep. That was Lee. That was Lee, right? And his name was Day and
Day.
Day and Shock Claire's label.
Yo.
Yeah, Day and Shock Claire's label, Knee Deep. I just know. I mean, I was down with both of them dudes, but
shout out Day. I haven't seen him in a minute, homie.
I haven't seen him in a minute either.
He looks like David Duchovny. He kind of has like a Stone David Duchovny look.
I guess.
Yeah.
I want to shout Nish
he's
though,
super cool though, man.
and Cedar Hill. If y'all don't know that Nish and Landscape of Monolith are a duo named Cedar Hill, and they have new music out, and it's crazy. Nish is legitimately one of my favorite rappers on planet Earth.
Nice.
Forget Toronto, Scarborough, Earth.
That's what's up. Nish, hit me up, man. We need to do something for Japan, homie.
Yeah. Yo, guys, send me some of this Nish shit, man.
This
Cedar Hill.
Fuego.
Send that, yo.
Yeah, man.
What are we talking about here?
All right, man. So that's Turono Talks.
Nish rocks.
Definitely a dope definitely a dope episode. My man, Dan. Nothing but love. We're gonna break up because I gotta go home, shower, eat some food, and go to work in the damn morning. But this was a great episode. Anything y'all want to say before we jump out of here?
No, we out of here, man. Shout out to
East
the
Coast
Collection.
We'll be back, y'all. One love.
Oh, you mean for the Rick?
Yeah, hold up.
All right. Oh, yeah, we got that Rick show next Friday.
MRG?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, shit, we ain't got.
I hate when people have acronyms and it's too short.
Yeah,
or you don't remember it because.
Either way, Ritz, Wendy Payton, Echo, and who's the next man?
Yeah.
And Stacy's hosting.
Yeah, but there's someone else big.
All right, November 29th. Where's the show going down?
Yeah, Dizzy Wright.
Where's the show going down?
November 29th, Adelaide Hall.
Adelaide Hall. We got Ritz. Who else is on the bill?
Dizzy Wright,
Whitney Payton, and Echo.
Okay, Whitney Payton and Echo. We got Stacy hosting. It's gonna be a big show. Hit up somebody for tickets. I don't know who you got to hit up for tickets, but it's going down November 29th, Adelaide Hall. We'll be in the building somewhere. All right, one love, y'all. We'll be back next week, man.
Peace. Yo, respect, man.
Yeah, respect to you guys. Thanks a lot, man.
Respect, man.
Yeah, man, this was fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we almost went 2 hours.
You know what's fun when it goes 2 hours?
Yeah.
Shit. It didn't feel like time was
That's
moving.
nuts. That's nuts. Thanks for the beer, too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Well, I just knew from when we interviewed you back in the day. I was like, man, Danny would be a great guest up here.
Thanks, man. Yeah. I talk too much. That's why.
No, that's good, though, man.